Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first episode of the Game Managers Podcast. I'm Nick Norris, and I'm here with my co-host, Justin Knight.
Justin Knight right here. Nice to be with y'all.
We're here. We're going to do a little podcast for college football this year, starting out with Alabama and Auburn. That's our kind of forte as we're here in Alabama.
Yeah, because it was some day for the SEC again.
Yeah, not the best day for the conference, that's for sure. So we're going to get into all of that.
I think they're chasing Pruitt out right now as we speak.
There's a good chance that he's already on his way out the door. Probably deleted his Twitter, if I had to guess, if he has one.
Yeah, I think that was long gone.
Yeah, he definitely needs to stay off that. But we're just going to go through the list here. We're going to specialize mostly in in-state football, but we'll branch out a little bit from time to time too. So this week's going to be all SEC. Week 2, just keeping everybody updated with what happened, giving our thoughts and takes. We're not professionals.
No, as you can already tell right now, there's not much going on that's professional.
No, so if you disagree with what we say, it's probably because you're right.
Yeah. But we love football. We love talking football, and that's what we want to do.
Yeah, for sure. So that's what we're here to do. We do it. We've done it for a long time anyways, and we thought, well, we'll just go ahead and record ourselves.
What the heck, yeah.
Yeah, so sorry for the low quality. Also, we're on one microphone, but hopefully next week we'll have 2. But for this week, we're actually here together, which is not going to be a weekly thing. So that's pretty cool.
We're here together.
Hey. Okay, well, we're just going to go through the list here as they happen. First up on the list was the second biggest game of the weekend, Texas A&M versus Clemson at Clemson. Justin, what was your thoughts initially of this game?
I thought Clemson had control of the game the whole time. Lawrence looked better than he did last week, but I'm getting tired of hearing all this. He's going to be the number 1 pick, and he's still got 2 more years left, so we don't even know what's going to happen. But like I've been saying, A&M, I think they're still not there yet. Mond, I just don't have much trust in him. He didn't really have a good day.
Yeah, Mond not too impressive. He went 24 for 42 for 236 yards and a touchdown, but he also had an interception there, and it just never felt like he ever had a control over the game or even his offense, really.
No, but I will say A&M's defense was pretty good. They held Clemson ETN to only 53 yards, but other than that, they couldn't do anything on offense.
Yeah, it really felt like Clemson owned this game from the beginning. Even though the final score 24-10, doesn't necessarily look like it was a manhandling, if you will. But
well, I mean, and the only reason for that, they got that last-second touchdown. It should have been 24-3. A&M was lucky to get that last touchdown in, but yeah, Clemson had control the whole time. But Lawrence, we'll see what he does these next few games, but he's still got a lot of improvement to do.
Yeah, definitely not the Heisman leader like we thought he would be at this point, but he went 24 for 35, 268 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. So still pretty good numbers to put up, but he was a little hyped, and we thought maybe those numbers would be a bit higher at this point.
Yeah.
Overall, there really wasn't too much to say about this game. Jimbo doesn't have this team there yet, obviously, and Dabo just did what Dabo does.
But hey, Feinbaum thought, Fisher's the better coach.
That was a bit of a controversial take. I'm going to have to disagree with him.
He has a lot of controversial takes nowadays.
Yeah, you're not kidding about that. So let's click on...
not much for that game. It was pretty easy for Clemson. They had control.
Yeah, not as interesting of a game to watch as I thought it'd be. Texas A&M still looked very good. I still think they're going to have a really good year. They've got a tough schedule coming up.
Yeah, I don't see Auburn beating them, and I'm an Auburn fan.
Yeah, so we'll see. Auburn is going to play them on September 21st.
A&M's at home. I don't see Auburn coming in there and beating them. But you never know.
So this coming week, Texas A&M's going to move on to Lamar. Should be an easy win. Then they'll have a tough test against Auburn, followed by an easy game, probably against Arkansas.
Yeah, no trouble there.
And then they're going to take on Alabama. And then they'll end
that could go either way. Alabama's going to come in the A&M. You never know.
Yeah, they got Auburn, Alabama, Arkansas, Mississippi State, South Carolina, all at home.
But then they got to end the season with at Georgia and then at LSU. So it's going to be, I see, a 3-4 loss season.
Yeah, that'd probably be your best bet. At least 3, I'd say.
Yeah.
I'd say that they're going to drop either Auburn or Alabama, and then they're going to drop either Georgia or LSU.
I don't see them beating Georgia and LSU at this point, or Alabama. Auburn, I can see them beating Auburn, so I'm seeing 4 losses for them this season.
Well, tickets for the LSU game is as low as $64.
Yeah,
That's a ways away, but
it's not bad, especially after the barn burner they had last year.
yeah, that was probably the best game I've ever seen in my entire life.
And probably the greatest moment was Ed getting dumped with Gatorade, and then A&M coming back to tie it.
So next up, we had an even less exciting game, much less exciting. We got New Mexico State visiting Alabama.
Another tough opponent for Alabama to start the season.
Yeah, that seems to be Alabama's thing, but Nick Saban seems to try to get them out of there, scheduling some tougher games down the line. We won't be seeing that this season, though, for sure.
No, it'll be an easy stride to the SEC championship as usual.
So Tua had another easy day, 16 of 24, 227 yards, 3 touchdowns, 95.8 QBR. And then Mac Jones came in 5 for 9, 58 yards, 1 touchdown. So pretty good day for Alabama.
I tell you what, I will say this about Alabama: just how agile and how fast these wide receivers they have. One of the best wide receiving corps you'll ever see coming out in a college football team.
Yeah, and Judy today was on top of it as usual. He got 3 of those touchdowns, 103 yards on just 8 receptions.
Yeah, and then Ruggs on the first play, just a little bubble screen. He's just so fast. He took it to the house.
Yep, that was a 39-yard touchdown, I believe, the longest one. And then Waddle coming in. You have Judy, Ruggs, Waddle, Smith. It's just the receiving core around Tua. It's just going to really help him in the Heisman run.
Oh, yeah.
Who?
So they considered the Ruggs play, so he threw it behind. They consider that a rush play.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that little screen right there was considered a run play.
Okay, that's the 75.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not too bad. So he had 2 touchdowns, Ruggs.
Yep, so not much to talk about in this game. Just another easy W to put on the schedule.
As of right now, after seeing Tua, we've already talked about Tua and Lawrence, which are the 2 leading candidates going into the season. Who do you think out of those 2 or someone else do you think is leading the Heisman race right now?
Well, I mean, we got to go outside of the SEC and ACC and go to Jalen Hurts, the way he's looked his first 2 games. I mean, his completion percentage is like in 70%, 80% range. He's been on another level, and he's got this killer mindset now. I mean, after Houston, he was like, we got to improve. I got to go talk to my teammates. We didn't look that good. So after I saw that, I don't see anybody else winning the Heisman.
No, and that's definitely the better story, too.
Yeah.
Tua wins the Heisman, great. If Lawrence wins the Heisman, awesome. But there's not much of a story there. You go with Jalen after everything that guy's been through. I mean,
started his freshman year, and then
SEC Player of the Year.
Yeah, his first loss to Clemson in the championship game. Next season starts the whole season, loses his job in the championship game. Then he's not even playing the next season. He's just coming in for Tua in the second half. And then now he's just showing off at Oklahoma. So you got to give it to Lincoln Riley and his offense and how those teams don't miss a beat. They just go right back in. New guy each year. I mean, you had Baker, Heisman. Then Murray comes in, Heisman. And now Hurts might win a Heisman. So it's pretty incredible what he's doing at Oklahoma.
I would like to know how much, because we didn't get to see that much of Jalen, I'd like to know how much he did improve this past season that we didn't even get to see. And now it's on full display.
And I mean, we'll see more. I mean, he's played Houston, and he's played South Dakota today. So not, top opponents, but so we'll see once he plays Texas and teams like that. They don't really have many tough defenses on their schedule.
So Oklahoma coming up, they're going to have Texas. They're going to have UCLA coming up next.
Easy. Cincinnati beat UCLA at the start of the season.
Yep, they got Texas Tech followed by that.
And then Kansas. Yeah, that'll be a
Les
tough one.
Miles going to face him, who unfortunately lost tonight.
Ooh, yeah, to I think it was Coastal Carolina. So Kansas still has a little ways to go, but
yeah,
no surprise there.
Hopefully Les has got them on the right track. I'm a big fan of Les Miles.
Yeah, I love Les.
But then after that, they've got Texas, which is going to be a big challenge.
One of the games of the year. People are looking forward to that game.
Yeah, no doubt.
West Virginia, who just got shut down by Missouri, who lost to Wyoming last week.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty bad West Virginia team, who also barely beat James Madison.
And we'll get to that game more here shortly. Then they're going to finish out the year with Kansas State, Iowa State, Baylor, TCU, and Oklahoma State. So the hardest of these games definitely
Easily
being Texas.
I mean, this team should easily go undefeated, and then we'll see who they play. I don't think Texas and Oklahoma, are they in the same division in the Big 12? How's that set out?
Let me pull it up. I'm not sure.
Well, they're not, because they played each other last year in the championship game. So it should come down to Oklahoma and Texas in the Big 12 championship game once again, because I don't see Texas losing to anybody other than Oklahoma in the Big 12.
Oh, Big 12 doesn't have divisions, right? Or is that Big 10?
Or it's just the top two. The top two
yeah.
finish, yeah.
So, yeah, it'll be them.
Because they used to not have the championship game.
Right. See, I think it'd be a very disappointing season if they do not make it to the College Football Playoff. I think that's the expectation, and it should be.
They should be gone undefeated into the Big 12 championship game.
But I'm wishing the best for Jalen Hurts. I'd love to see him.
He's a great dude. He's a hard worker. And a lot of guys you see, I mean, a lot of players would have already left. They wouldn't have stayed at Alabama that extra year backing up another quarterback after being the starter.
Oh, absolutely. Especially since he could have retained
He could
a
have
year.
easily left, yeah.
Yeah, he could have retained another year of eligibility. Chose not to, just to stick around. Claims he never even thought about it. I doubt that.
That's got to go across the player's mind.
Yeah, you would have to consider it, but just a real standout guy. So
Yeah.
everybody loves him. Everybody wants to see him win the Heisman. Even Alabama fans just can't get enough of the guy still. So.
I would love to see him beat Alabama. I mean, that would be great. Championship game, he beats Alabama.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'd love to see them two play against each other. I feel like a lot of Alabama fans would be very tore going into that game. All right, so next up on the list, another absolute beatdown.
Pointless game to talk about. Georgia beats Murray State.
Now, this game's a little interesting because it started out.
It was a little close.
Pretty
They
close.
struggled.
Yeah, 7-7 at one point, tied up, but that didn't last long.
But you see that happen a lot. These first couple of games, they'll struggle with a team like this, and then they end up winning easily.
Right, and most of Murray State's points, a touchdown and a field goal, came in the second half. So, first quarter, Georgia was stuck with just a touchdown, but in the second, we got 5, just back to back to back to back to back. It was just an absolute slaughter.
But, yeah, I mean, Jake Fromm had a good day, 10 of 11, 166, 1 touchdown, did what he needed to do. I think, for me, when I'm thinking about Georgia, this is probably their best chance to win a national championship this year. I think if they meet with Alabama in the SEC championship game again, I could see them beating Alabama. I mean, they've had so many opportunities these past couple of years.
Yeah, you would think at some point Georgia will have to get one up on Alabama.
Go over the hump at some point. I mean, I think this is their best chance this year.
And another interesting about Georgia is how evened out their rushing attack is. You got here, White got 72 yards, 8 carries. Swift, 6 carries, 67 yards. McIntosh, 9 carries, 61 yards. There's a lot of different backs that can that run different ways.
And a lot of times we just think Alabama is being able to refill the running back position every year, but Georgia, they always have 2 solid running backs each year. And once again, they do. So I think this is Georgia's best shot this year to really challenge Alabama in the West.
So this game, Georgia had 269 rushing yards, held Murray State to just 23 all game. So, pretty dominant performance. Not too much to say about that one either. I can edit this out.
Oh, we can just do this one last. LSU and Texas.
Yeah.
We'll go over the kind of these smaller ones first.
Yeah.
And we'll finish with LSU.
Okay, cool. I need to get back to SEC. Anyways.
Yeah, I mean, as you can tell, not much I know about the other leagues. I could have sworn they did divisions now in Big 12. I guess it's just the final 2.
So we'll go ahead. We'll get the rest of the beatdowns out of the way real quick. So we'll just start out here. UT Martin, Florida.
No, they're just one of those cupcake games,
45-0. Felipe Franks had a pretty good day.
Surprisingly, after his performance a couple weeks ago against Miami. Still not sold on this guy. Just the hype he keeps getting surprises me. He just hasn't shown any improvement from last season, especially in the first game against Miami. I know it's early in the year, but the way they were talking about him, we should have seen more from him.
Yeah, this is a guy that everyone was expecting to see so much improvement. He was just really hyped up. Today he went 25 for 27. That's about as good as you
I
can
would
get.
hope he would against UT Martin.
Yeah. Yeah, well, he got 270 yards, 2 touchdowns through the air. And then rushing, we got Perrine. He's got 51 yards, a touchdown. Not much to say here, except for Felipe Franks did look very good today. Although against Miami, not so much. No. So we'll see.
I think it's just a matter of time before Florida starts losing some games. We'll see what they got next on their schedule.
Coming down the pike here, we've got Kentucky.
Who knows? At Kentucky, we remember when they lost to Kentucky last year?
It was last year. It was the first time in decades.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they have to go to Kentucky. That'll be a little bit of a revenge game.
Ooh, tough game against Tennessee in a couple weeks.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. We probably won't even see Pruitt by then.
Oh, there's a good chance. He did have a 6-year contract though, where this will be the second year into it. So
yeah,
fire him this early. Tennessee has the money to do it.
It's not going to happen, but I don't. If he makes it through this season, there's no way they.
If there was an available hire, yeah, why not? But
yeah, I don't know.
Who are they going to get?
I know it's early and he's had to take in a lot from Butch Jones, but when you're 25-point favorites against Georgia State from last week and you lose by 8, and then you think, we can come back and beat BYU at least. We can't even do that. So I think there's a lot of problems going on at Tennessee.
It just seems like they can't catch a break. Every time they get to the rock bottom, it's not. They can go a little farther.
They had this game in the bag, 16-13. It was like 25 seconds left. BYU's just backing themselves up. They're on the 8-yard line.
There was no way to lose that game.
They run one play, then it's like 3rd and 5, and then no idea what the cornerback is doing. He thinks it's zone at first, and then he's turning around, and he's wide open, and he just streaks down the field. And easy field goal, winning it over. Then they win it in overtime.
Just absolutely embarrassing. There's 0-2
really
against cupcake teams.
First time since 1988 for Tennessee.
They paid Georgia State $1 million to come to their place and beat them.
And beat them easily. I mean, they were up by 2 touchdowns at one point.
Goodness gracious. And we'll get back to more Tennessee here in a second, but we're going to stick with the Florida Gators.
Can you imagine being a Tennessee fan, born in 98?
All you've known is failure.
I mean, and of course, they have no idea of Manning winning back in 98, 99.
It's basically
and
a
after
myth.
that, they have no idea.
It's been an absolute mess for Tennessee for a long time, and it's not getting better anytime soon.
I don't ever see Tennessee winning again, having a winning season. I know that's a little bit of a stretch.
Ever again, that's going to shut it down.
But
it maybe should.
They absolutely suck. And now they're just a basketball school. And who would ever say that about an SEC team? That you're just a basketball school now. Now, Kentucky's been a basketball school for a while. But even last year, they had a decent football team. They had a chance to try to win the East. That's not happening this year after the couple games they played to start the year. But
that's not happening for the next 5 years.
No, it's just going to be Georgia, maybe Florida at some point, Georgia.
And Tennessee's roster is so atrocious that even if a great coach came there, it'd be hard to win just because of the lack of talent.
Yeah, that's the thing. The other side of getting rid of Pruitt, he's just got still a lot of work to do with the roster he has, and he's still got a lot of time to get new players in there. But what player thinks I'm going to go to Tennessee and have a successful 2-3 years there?
So back to Florida, we got Florida facing off against Auburn at home October 5th.
That'll be a good game. We'll see from what Auburn, still don't know yet. That'll be a tough game for Auburn. And I guess we'll see a lot from Florida that game as well.
They're going to follow that one up with a trip to LSU October 12th. That's 2 difficult games back
Tough
to back.
stretch.
They travel to South Carolina, and then they get Georgia back at home.
Ooh, and then they end the season with a tough game against Florida State.
Yeah. Old Willie may be out here soon too. We'll find out real soon. I think by the end of the season, him and Jeremy might both be gone. So hopping back in here, we took a little break, but we're here with our friend Aaron Patterson, renowned college football fanatic.
Didn't make great picks today. You wouldn't know that by his picks, but
Yeah, so we have a little SEC poll where we pick every SEC game. Neither I or Aaron did too well today, but especially Aaron. He took some risky picks, and they didn't all pan out for him.
like West Virginia over Missouri.
Well, that was strictly for strategic purposes.
3 points. Yeah, he wanted the points.
So how our
Understand.
system works is if it's a 10-point or more underdog, it's worth 3 points instead of the average 1 if you guess the winner. So to try to take the lead, as he was already tied for first, he picked West Virginia, and it just didn't really pan out, did it?
Well, considering Missouri got spanked by Wyoming, I figured it was, and the spread was only like 13 points, so it was just outside the 10 mark. I figured it was the only 3-point game that was worth taking the risk on.
Let's
that
not
we had this
forget,
week.
James Madison almost beat West Virginia last week as too.
Well, you see, I had no clue about James Madison because I don't
So
watch.
there's your problem right there.
Well, let's hop into this West Virginia.
I just figured they can only get so much worse, and considering they were a pretty good football team last year,
They were.
to go against Missouri, who got spanked by Wyoming.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't
I
say
figured.
spanked.
I
I
would
mean,
say
well, it was a
spanked.
touchdown. It was a touchdown.
Well, it didn't seem like a touchdown. I can tell you that right now.
Well, Kendall for West Virginia, he went 15 for 25, 137 yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions.
Yeah, he's what you call garbage.
Yeah, he looked pretty bad today. I feel sorry for West Virginia the rest of the season out.
If you could describe this West Virginia team in one word, what would it be, Aaron?
Garbage.
Atrocious. Let's just step it up a little bit.
I'm going to say pathetic. Kelly Brown, on the other hand, he went 17 for 25, 150 yards with 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions.
He's had a great start to his Missouri career. He threw for over 400 yards last week. I
Yeah.
think he'll have a pretty good season with Missouri. He fits in well with their offense.
He does seem to fit that system pretty well. I'm interested to see how he does the remainder of the season. Any thoughts about Kelly Bryant, Aaron?
No, I was actually thinking of Derek Dooley because he came up earlier. And, what a poor soul, really.
Yeah, well,
Him and Kelly Bryant, really. Just, after that whipping by Wyoming,
You
I
wanna
don't care
call
if
it
it was
that,
a
sure.
whipping or
Okay.
not. But anyway, it sure looked like a whipping to me after that.
Yeah, they
it
lost
just
to
seems like they're
Wyoming.
both playing to the end of the season to see other opportunities.
Pretty much.
Kelly's
What's
just,
at the next level?
Yep, Kelly's trying to get to that next level, just trying to show what he can do. And
Not much care for
Derek's
winning at
just
this point.
hoping he can get another gig somewhere. Because that Tennessee just ruined his career, which poor Pruitt is on his way.
Yeah, like we've been saying, yeah, we've said it too. Pruitt's probably already out.
and the narrative on Pruitt has changed so much over the past year. Just last season, the narrative was that Pruitt had got this thing on the right start, and that it was, it was building back up. Maybe in 3 or 4 years, we could see Tennessee have a little bit more success. And this year, it's just been
Not a good start.
an absolute shock.
Yeah.
But hey, I will give it to him. They beat, Auburn last season. I'll give it to him on that.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing to look at now, too, the way they started the season.
It's been pretty rough.
I'm not sure if that win is more of a testament to Pruitt or to
just how
Malzahn.
Auburn has given up at that point in the season last year.
After the start of this season, I think it's more of Malzahn than it is.
A testament to
I would
Malzahn.
agree. Because the week before that Tennessee game, they
Tennessee.
got walloped
Yeah.
by Mississippi State. Auburn did last season. So Auburn at that point had pretty much given up, and you could tell in that game. So
Malzahn a little bit on the hot seat, but after that win over Oregon.
he's been on the hot seat for years now.
Well, I don't know.
Oh yeah, he
He
has.
got that big extension.
It's just
Well,
nice and warm for him.
It's been
Yeah.
warm because a couple years ago, if he doesn't beat LSU, Les Miles doesn't get fired possibly.
Right.
At that point.
I still think he should not have.
Yeah, he shouldn't have. It was kind of early in the year.
In my personal opinion.
I love Les Miles, but I think it was time for him to go just because he was so obsessed with beating Bama, and he wanted to out-Bama.
And the offense sucked every single year.
He just wasn't able to evolve and adapt, and he just kind of fell to the wayside along with the rest of LSU.
Yeah.
Still hated to see him go, but I love to see that he's back at Kansas, and I hate that he lost today. But I've been checking out the Les Miles documentary on ESPN Plus, and it's pretty good. The first episode is very slow.
Yeah, they have a few weird scenes that they leave in that they didn't cut. I don't know, just weird things. But
It
overall,
felt like a lot of filler.
Yeah.
In the first episode, it's a lot of the search for a new coach, and it's just a lot of awkward, meaningless conversations.
And a lot of stuff that had to have been staged in some way, shape, form, or fashion. Like they had the cameras in his house when he got
Les
the
Miles'
call.
house.
Yeah, I don't think they were there.
Yeah, they had to have known because they started filming this before the firing.
Months before.
So it's just, how did ESPN know? How did they? They may have been told on an article by now. I never looked it up. I didn't care enough.
Unless the next few episodes just get super interesting, and they've been doing this at other places, and this was the only one that really seemed like sharing. That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, I mean, ESPN definitely has the money to just go film a lot of things and scrap them if they don't work out. But still seems odd to have those cameras in Les Miles' house unless they knew that he was going to get the job.
Yeah, it was just, like you said, a bunch of filler stuff.
Hey, ESPN can tell the future. Maybe that's the deal.
It seems like it.
I wish they would have shared the information about that Texas game that just happened.
Yeah, another one that Aaron lost points on. Aaron, why don't you go ahead and tell us which all games you lost points on?
Well, there were plenty today.
I lost points on Purdue-Vandy. It was only a 1-point game.
Another dump.
I also lost points on that one.
I just really thought Vandy would be able to pull that one off.
Typical Vandy.
Yep, pretty much. That's pretty much all you got to say about that one. I really thought they were turning a leaf, but apparently not. And let's see, what else? Oh, well, Tennessee, BYU lost in double overtime. Tennessee was leading the entire game until the end of regulation.
We're going to get to that one soon, too.
BYU wasn't even doing anything on offense.
No. This is an unlosable game there with the last minute. We'll get to it more in detail, but
let's see.
just atrocious.
And then the third one was Texas LSU.
Which that one could have gone either way. So
was that the only three that I lost?
That was the only three you went down on.
Yep, that's wow.
Yeah. It feels like more than that.
A lot
it does
more.
feel like a lot more.
It's been a long day. We have 5 TVs here set up in the college football capital of Walker County here. And so we watch about 20 games every Saturday. And it's just been a long day. We've watched a lot of bad football.
11 to 11. Technically, we're still watching football.
Yeah, technically we are. We got the Stanford USC game on right now.
And USC is in the lead somehow. I don't know how this USC team.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to halftime right now. We haven't really been keeping our eye on it, but
I would have picked Stanford to win this game, so I am pretty surprised.
Yeah, that USC's even in that
USC,
winning.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually we're out of halftime here where it's 24-20 USC. I doubt it'll be over by the time we get done with this. Hopefully to God we don't record for that long.
Nobody wants to listen to us for that long.
No, I highly doubt it. But anyway,
at all.
Yeah, that's also possible. We're gonna get back to the games here. South Carolina thumped.
Not much to talk about there either.
Yeah, 72-10 over Charleston Southern.
Well, the fact that they were able to score 72 no matter who they played after getting
very impressive
thumped last week is
by
something
North
to
Carolina.
talk about, but that's about it.
Yeah, definitely. So Helinski went 24 for 30, 282 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception.
Good debut for the freshman quarterback after Bentley got hurt with injury last week.
Here's a game we did not watch that I am curious the result of that I don't think we saw.
Florida.
North Carolina and Miami.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That was a good
game.
game.
North Carolina was up 17-3 last time we checked.
I thought that would be a good matchup, and
So here's the results for you.
Several people laughed at me, and
North Carolina won 28-25.
Great start for Mac Brown, 2-0. South Carolina, Miami,
Yep,
start of the season.
I picked him the week before, and that's one reason I was in first is because I got that 3-point game.
And a disappointing start for Miami, 0-2.
Yep.
Which has been more disappointing so far, Florida State, Miami, or Tennessee?
Well, I'm going to say Miami only because they had potential.
And it was expectation.
Yeah, expectation. That's what I meant. Like, Tennessee's just like, they were going to be bad, but
not this bad.
We didn't know they were going to be this bad, but it really didn't matter. Like, same with Florida State. They were terrible last year, too.
You expect improvement. If they would have lost today.
You expect improvement, but you don't expect a ranked team to go 0-2 to two teams like that.
Well, if Florida State lost, if they lost today.
And they should have.
And that was a close one.
They would have been my biggest disappointment just because of how big favorites they were against Boise State and Louisiana Monroe.
The Boise State, it being the first game of the season, I think Boise's
and it was
a little
moved.
underrated.
It was supposed to be at a neutral site.
Yeah.
And they moved it to Florida State Stadium. But still, I mean, you would think being Florida State, you're playing at home and you were up that big, you don't lose a game like that.
And for Louisiana Monroe, too, a tough loss there in, was it overtime or double overtime?
I
It was
believe
in double overtime. First time, missed extra point in over 2 years in an overtime period.
Ugh.
That's how they lost the game.
Yep, that's rough.
Yep, a missed PAT is what ended it for them in a game that they should have won. They actually had quite a comeback for that game. I don't remember what the deficit was, but
They were probably down at least 14 at one point.
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking.
Boise State the
As
week
they
before.
were last week, so
Willie Taggart having a hard time getting his team to finish.
He's not going to be there much longer either.
No, definitely not there too much longer.
Talking about how the SEC is having a down year, the ACC is even worse when you think about it. With the talent of teams they have.
Yeah, with
it's just
Miami,
Clemson.
Florida State, those two programs
who are usually good.
Yeah, because even if you still look at it, the game between Florida State and Clemson has been the winner of the ACC for over a decade.
Yes,
I believe, and and for Florida State to be that bad, that's just a testament how good Clemson is.
Yeah.
Winning that many ACC because it's just in Miami being the.
Because now Clemson's top opponent is Syracuse, which I don't think many people thought that.
Yeah, which got beat 63-20 today.
Clemson's got
by Maryland, right?
Yeah, I believe Maryland will take that spot over. I don't see Syracuse being ranked that much longer, and I believe Maryland deserves to be ranked.
Yeah, Maryland off 2-0.
Yeah.
With what's his face calling the plays?
The Alabama.
Yeah,
Loxley.
Yeah.
Yep, Mike Loxley. So Harris having a big day for South Carolina. 3 touchdowns on only 6 carries. 147 yards. His longest 75. So South Carolina had an easy walk through the park today, but still impressive stats by both Harris and many others on the team.
Ooh, and then in our next game, we got Purdue making it look pretty easy against Vanderbilt, throwing for over 500 yards in the game.
Now, this game was frustrating for me and Aaron. Like we said, we had Vandy picked. And it wasn't 42-24 the whole game. It was definitely a lot closer at the beginning. And
but I'd say Purdue had control.
Yeah, at halftime it was only 14-10.
Right.
But after that...
Yeah, after that, they just laid an egg.
It was it was the third quarter. Purdue just came out, touchdown. And then the fourth, Vandy answered a one, but then Purdue just coming back with 2 more to end the game out, 42-24.
I really thought with Derek Mason, I think they had a decent year for what they were last year.
They did.
And they had Vaughn, which showed a lot of promise. And I thought after the way Purdue played Nevada, I think it was, and got beat, and I thought they would turn over a new leaf, and I thought Vandy had that one. I thought that was a pick that most people got wrong when I saw it. I was like, no, I'm sure Vandy can pull that out. I know they weren't the favorite, but I don't know. I didn't see them losing 42-24 by any means.
So this is one of the best stats of the day. I'm not sure how to pronounce Purdue's quarterback's name. Sindlar? Is it Sindlar? How would you pronounce that?
I don't even see it.
Right here.
Oh, Purdue's, yeah. Sindler?
Similar? Doesn't matter. He went 34 for 52, 509 yards, and 5 touchdowns with 1 interception.
And then one of the best receivers in the Big Ten, Rondell Moore, had 220 yards with a touchdown. He's a small guy, but he's quick. He's got great hands. He's going to be a great receiver. And he's only a sophomore. Because you remember that game last year when they beat Ohio State? He had that huge game.
Yes, I remember.
I will not forget that game for sure.
One of the best games.
One of my favorite tweets, God bless Purdue, came after that game.
Yes.
With all the heat around Urban Meyer for all the Zach Smith stuff.
Yeah.
And it was just, the whole nation was just rooting against Ohio State. And it was so nice to see them go down to Purdue.
Especially the way they did. They didn't just go down. You talk about a beat.
It was a beat down.
That was embarrassing.
And it was nice, of course, the young fan Tyler that has unfortunately passed away. Just for him to get to see that was just a really special moment. Just what a fun game though.
It was pretty nice to watch.
So we're gonna go on. What we got next, Justin?
All right, what we got?
I'm pulling it up as we speak.
Probably
It might
nothing
take
good.
a second. Probably nothing good. Yeah, there's probably a couple more.
Here we go. Mississippi State over Southern Miss. Easy game for State, 38-15. Last week I didn't really see much from Mississippi State, barely beaten. Who is it they played? The Ragin' Cajuns of Louisiana. They beat them 38-28, and it's just, let's see, Mississippi State's on academic probation for 3 years. And it's just not looking good for State. And then they started 2-0. They just haven't played anybody. I don't see them having a good SEC year, though.
Stevens went 9 for 10. Schrader went 7 for 11. So both quarterbacks did pretty well.
Yeah.
105 yards for Stevens, 71 for Schrader. And Heel coming in with 123 yards on 14 carries and a touchdown. So, yeah, just kind of an easy handling here.
Nothing to talk about once again.
That's how a lot of these games
Now,
tend to be.
one of my favorite games of the day, BYU and Tennessee.
Oh, where do we even start with this one? Let me get it pulled up on the page.
Let's see, BYU wins 29-26.
In the most Tennessee way
Oh,
imaginable. This is the one I've been wanting to talk about more than
man.
any of them. Oh, my God. Just a nightmare. Here we go. I'm pulling it up now.
Also, I finally found the name of the Tennessee quarterback. Couldn't even tell you how to pronounce it. We go from Jared.
Warrantano?
Yeah, and his first name is Jared. You don't really expect that from that last name, but Guanatano?
From the numbers, he doesn't look too bad. 17 of 28, 176
The numbers
yards.
don't always tell the story.
That's definitely true in this case. 2 touchdowns.
One interception, and I'm pretty sure he had a fumble in there somewhere, too.
I believe he did. Well, no Tennessee
no
fumbles.
Surprisingly.
Maybe it was called back, or maybe it didn't happen at all.
Either way, he did not look that
He
good.
looked awful.
My goodness.
He did not look good at
You
all.
can't see this, but I'm just rubbing my face. Just because I don't even know where to start with this game, I guess, from the beginning.
Which, I mean...
BYU starts off early with put a field goal on the board.
Yeah.
And
Tennessee's right there with a touchdown. The next quarter,
couple drives later, with a
Tennessee's
touchdown.
put 6 on the board.
And I finally think they're okay.
Tennessee was up 10.
Everything's going to be okay.
And they were looking fine. Their defense was looking good. In the first half, I mean, they only give up 3 points. And then third quarter, Tennessee doesn't do anything. It's 13-10. And then all of a sudden, Tennessee's still not doing anything. Field goal.
Yeah, and you just start getting nervous.
And then
more
BYU goes
nervous.
field goal. After we were talking about that amazing last play for BYU to come back down and get the tying
Yeah, which
field
seconds
goal.
before, I was thinking, oh
Holding
my gosh.
call, it's over.
Well, I was thinking, oh my gosh, Tennessee's really only going to win by 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been sad enough. So I'll manually type in for the SEC poll the winners and losers, and I already had Tennessee in there as a win.
Because it was 20 seconds left. BYU was taking their time. They didn't
And on their own
They had like
20,
70
They had
yards
no
to go.
timeouts
Yeah.
left.
on their own 20.
So 80 yards to go.
Time management on the clock was terrible.
It wasn't
You're
good.
like, okay, they just...
They were taking their time.
Yeah, I was like, all right. But nope, they had something drew
Just
drew
a
up.
blown coverage by Tennessee. I mean, all it was a vertical route.
And when I saw it, when the play was happening, I thought that was the game. I didn't think Tennessee would be able to track him down. I was in shock, and then I was like, maybe it's just Tennessee. Like, surely they'll be able to pull it off at least. At least we got overtime, and it didn't get any better, folks.
No, did not get it any better.
They at least made
all.
it to double overtime, but
At least made it to double overtime against
BYU, who their quarterback threw 2 pick-sixes last week against Utah.
Ugh, atrocious.
Yeah, it's rough.
This game is just so sickening if you're a Tennessee fan or just
an SEC fan,
a football fan.
Yeah, a football fan.
It's just
seeing a program like that just not any sign of.
There hasn't been any improvement since Tennessee had that good start with. Tennessee had the good start with Butch Jones. What was it, 3 years ago?
Yeah.
They had that game winner against Georgia on the Hail Mary, and people were thinking, "Oh, Tennessee's back." And then what they end up finishing that year? It ended up being a rough second half. Yeah.
No, that was
be relevant in any way.
So Tennessee starting out 0-2 after the 29-26 loss in double overtime.
And I saw somebody say they can only see Tennessee winning one game this season against Chattanooga. They don't even see them beating UAB.
UAB is a good team.
And UAB is good.
They're not the same team they were last year. I wish they were. They graduated how many seniors?
32, I believe is the number. The biggest class of all time. But today, a very different UAB team than last week's, stomping Akron in a game they were expected to lose.
Yeah, I don't even think they were favored.
No.
They were expected to lose all around.
You could say UAB and Tennessee are on the same level at this point in the season.
I believe they are.
Yeah, I think I'd take UAB right now.
And UAB did not have a football team a couple of years ago.
Think
about that.
Don't forget that.
I think I would definitely take Bill Clark and him being able to get UAB ready rather than Jeremy Pruitt getting Tennessee ready to go out there and play a third football game after the last two.
And I
think I would definitely take UAB at this moment.
I would too. And talking about Bill Clark, I know, Nick, you said it. It's just a matter of time before he gets a good coaching job somewhere.
And he deserves one. The fact that he's stuck around at UAB after the football program shut down there in 2014.
Yeah, it testifies to who he is as a person. And then being able to answer with the season that they did testifies to who he is as a coach.
Clark had offers at Samford, other nearby schools. He wouldn't have even had to pack up and move. He could have just stayed in his same home.
If he just wanted a paycheck,
Yeah, if he just wanted a paycheck, it would have been easy money for him. He chose to stick around, and now he's just a hometown hero for it.
Now they've won 13 straight at home. Yep. I could see him winning the Conference USA again this season.
I could see it. I think it would be a tough test because, like I said, it's not the same UAB as last year. But after what I saw today compared to last week, I still think Bill Clark has them on the right track, and they could definitely win their conference again.
Yeah, definitely their division, I think, and it's just a testament to him as a coach that they have gone 2-0 after losing that many seniors, and hopefully they can continue on the right track. I'd love to see them get another banner up in Legion Field, although they will be in their new stadium, I believe, next year.
That's right. Yeah, they'll have a nice new stadium down in downtown Birmingham.
Right there by our all-time favorite restaurant, Texas Day Brazil, who I
adore.
Yeah,
which I've yet to been able to go to. I keep hearing all these great things about it.
We should go there. We should go record a show from there.
Where in the world would we record a show?
Well, they have an upstairs area. Who
knows how much that would cost? Just, hey, can we set up our stuff up here too and eat all your nice fine meats you have that you deliver to us?
Make your servers walk all the way up just for us.
It's an experience, son.
Yes.
I'll tell you what.
So Texas Day Brazil is just this restaurant. It's unlimited meat.
Brazilian steakhouse.
Experience in your pocket as well, just the amount of money you have to throw out just to eat here.
It's about a $50 fee just
investment.
All you can eat.
It is quite an investment. Yeah, it's $50, but it's some of the best steak, lamb, chicken.
How many different types of meat did they have at this place?
A lot. It's actually probably the worst investment you can make because then you just want to go and make that investment over and over and over again, but it yields no returns.
For us, though, it's probably not bad because they make no money off of us.
No,
I feel confident that I ate at least 60 ounces of meat and that you ate about 120.
I can assure you that they did not make money off of me. And if they did, I would love to know how and how I could get in the business because they make a killing if they did.
So let's go over the meats we can just think of at the top of our heads.
Lamb.
The number one meat on the menu is their lamb. Even if you're not a big lamb fan, go there, get their lamb. It is life-changing.
Incredible.
Roasted right there over an open fire. He brought us to the table. The server brought us the lamb to the table. They cut it off there for you at the table. We literally told him, give us as much as you're allowed.
We did not want to wait till he came around again because we would be empty and we just asked for it all. We got all we could when we could.
Yeah. And it was a full rack of lamb. He got at the very top of the knife and just shoveled it all down onto our plates. The whole thing, and we gobbled it up in seconds.
And it was the happiest I've ever been in my entire life.
We will definitely make a trip back there here soon. So, the lamb, we've got filet mignon,
we've got bacon-wrapped filet mignon.
Oh, man. Which is amazing.
Now, how's the bacon on that? Because sometimes the bacon, when they wrap
it
can just be raw and not cooked all the way.
Don't second guess.
So
so
you can often.
Then we got regular filet mignon.
I want to talk about the bacon for a second, though.
Yeah, the bacon's pretty good.
It's not.
Now it's hard to make it crispy on the outside when you're wrapping it.
Okay, I understand your doubt.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough.
No, and it's a testament to them that it is so difficult to get it crispy and to not get it too crispy.
Where it's just breaking and falling apart, too.
This bacon is perfect. It's just enough where if you take a bite off of it, you can tear it off, but not enough where it breaks or that it's too hard.
That's my kind of bacon.
It's perfect every time. So we got the filet mignon, the bacon filet mignon. We've got the
tenderloin.
Which is great.
Parmesan crusted tenderloin.
Oh my!
It's delicious.
Let's see. Off the top of my head, they also have ribs, which were pretty good. They're not anything special when you have filet mignon coming at you from every.
Or anything.
Sure.
Yeah, they got filet mignon. They got some sausage that was pretty good. They have several different meats that were all Parmesan crusted, which I was a big fan of.
Yeah.
Well, anything Parmesan crusted.
Pretty much any meat that they have is Parmesan crusted or bacon wrapped, or I believe they had Parmesan crusted and bacon wrapped on a steak.
The New York strip and
I do not know what steak it was, but one was Parmesan crusted with wrapped in bacon. It was heavenly.
It was. All of it is heavenly. The New York strip and the ribeye also really good. Not to mention the salad bar.
Yep, that's what I was about to mention. Lobster bisque and
before the meal, you can get
lobster bisque.
A very good lobster bisque. Their salad bar is not just salad either. You can get your salad with all your sauces and dressings, but you also get sushi, shrimp,
cheesy scalloped potatoes, heavenly there.
Oh, and the fried bananas.
They bring you fried bananas to your table, and they bring you mashed potatoes. And not just any mashed potatoes. Let me tell you what, son. They rival the meat. And I am not kidding. They are the best mashed potatoes.
Now, what do they put in these mashed potatoes?
If I knew, I would be a rich man. Because I would sell them on the street and make my living. I would have a mashed potato food truck. And that's all I would sell, and I would make plenty of money. They're heavenly.
They're heavenly.
Beautiful.
They are. And just to be clear, we're not being paid by Texas Day Brazil to say any of this. We're just big fans. If they wanted to pay us, that'd be great.
Although all they would have to do is just offer one free meal, and I would talk just the same as I am right now.
Every episode.
One free meal, and it would cover the next season and a half of whatever this turns into.
I like talking about that a lot more than talking about the Tennessee game.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah, well, this gives you some kind of hope. You can just go to Texas.
If I'm a Tennessee fan,
you can't look forward to a Tennessee win.
Yeah, if I'm a Tennessee fan, I'm looking forward to basketball season.
If I'm Jeremy
that's
Pruitt,
only a couple months away. So
if I'm Jeremy Pruitt, I'm taking one of the last paychecks he probably has left, and I'm going to Texas Day Brazil to at least have some amount of happiness left in his life.
I mean, his wife is probably not even talking to him once he gets home.
I'm taking that paycheck. I'm going to Texas Day Brazil, and then I'm looking for a decent, lower quality job so that my career doesn't get completely wrecked by being at Tennessee.
Yeah, definitely hopping
like
online.
Derek Dooley and
time to update that resume.
And
maybe
Butch
not.
Jones, and the next thing you know, he's going to be back at Bama as an analyst, and you'll barely ever see
Everybody always comes crawling back.
Think about that, though. To come back as an analyst would be like taking a pay cut, a downgrade.
SEC head football coach to an analyst at a rival.
And he did a great job at Alabama. He was an assistant there.
Is Alabama and Tennessee still a rivalry?
I mean, technically,
no.
but also...
It hasn't been a rivalry for...
Do fans of either team get excited for this matchup anymore?
Maybe Tennessee.
Well, see...
Do they? After tonight, do they get excited to play Alabama?
I don't think Tennessee fans get excited. I think Alabama fans get excited just so we can say it's been that long since you've beat us, and we can always light up a cigar afterwards.
That is true.
Yeah, you can guarantee I'm just getting a nice cut and just light it.
I guess that and just padding your stats is all you really care about if you're a player in that game. If I'm a player, I'm not seeing that game as a rivalry at this point. I'm just seeing it as another game. Yeah. What we got next? Have we talked about West Virginia, Missouri already?
We got Kentucky.
You were speaking as a player. Oh, you don't see it as a rivalry? All I see it as this. Just lighting it up at the end of the game, baby.
Nice little sound effect there by Aaron.
Like I'm Lil Wayne, baby. Just
awesome. Glad you got your Lil Wayne reference in here. Maybe we'll get one every week.
I don't know how many more.
From now on, every week you're gonna sneak it in here. You're gonna see if we catch it. I want you to prepare. I want you to prepare a Lil Wayne lyric.
All right.
And sneak it in. You can't tell us when it's happening.
All right.
It can just be a snippet, but it's got to be like a lyric, and we got to be able to catch it.
Okay.
Okay, so that'll be a new thing.
So find that lyric. That's a good. Yeah, I like that. That's a good game.
That.
Okay, great. Let's do it.
Or you can mix it up with artists. Just sneak in a lyric just from an artist from a song.
I'll make it specifically Lil Wayne.
Yes, we're keeping it Lil Wayne.
Okay. We gotta get our intro and our outro just like Lil Wayne. Louder.
I love it. All right, so next up we got Eastern Michigan, Kentucky.
Ooh.
Lil Wayne is not a sponsor of it.
He can be
if he
wants
to be, you know.
Yeah.
If he wants to sponsor,
wants to sponsor this SEC, primarily Alabama Auburn football podcast,
Alabama,
he is more than welcome to. I guess.
I'm pretty sure he's friends with Quinnen Williams, and I played against Quinnen Williams, so basically me and him are friends.
You want to tell your story about Quinnen Williams?
There's not much to tell except that I blocked him maybe a couple times, and I don't have proof of that. And I don't want to show you the proof of it if I do have it, because it was only a couple times. Because the majority of the time I was on my back. He's pretty good.
Yeah, I'd say so.
But it was a shock. Like, I'd played against quite a few D1 players, and I did not expect him to be as good as he was. Honestly, didn't think he would see the field till his junior or senior year. And
yeah, didn't we have a big debate last year about this sitting in here?
We did.
He put on a lot of weight, he was a lot stronger. From Winona to his debut at Alabama, it was not the same Quinnen Williams. So, if you would have told me that I was able to even do what I did, the little that I did, against a number 1 draft pick in a year or two, I would have called you crazy. So he did, but yeah, that year at Alabama was quite impressive.
It was very impressive, and Alabama's defensive line missing him this year for sure. Back to Kentucky, though.
Yeah, only a 5-star, coming in to replace him. Not a big deal, Nothing's new.
What was Quinnen a 5-star?
I don't know if Quinnen was a 5-star.
I don't believe he was.
I know
he was committed to Auburn at first.
Right.
And he changed.
Yep. I don't know if it was him who got the tattoo. Who was it that got the Auburn
Reuben
tattoo?
Foster, I believe.
Yeah. He had the Auburn tattoo and then said, hey, I'll go
But that was because he went to Auburn High School, correct?
Yep.
So, Quinnen Williams here, a 4-star recruit coming out of high school.
So he was a solid recruit coming out.
Yeah, honestly, I thought he was a 3, so, maybe I will dig up some old film and
maybe we can break it down here.
Yeah. Because I actually didn't get a chance to block him that much, but when I did, I didn't feel like this is a number 1 draft pick, Like, I don't know.
Well, that's a big statement, playing with the Jets now. And
yeah, because, I mean, but he also was a completely different person.
Different, yeah. High school to where he is now.
Yeah, his senior year to what Cochran did for him over that summer was pretty impressive because he was a different human.
Built by Bama, as they say.
That's what you got, yeah.
Back to Kentucky, though. Wilson, 14-26, 114 yards, no touchdowns or interceptions. Not much to say here at all. The touchdowns dispersed between Smoke, Rose, and Wilson rushing, and Wagner got him one on a reception. But, yeah, other than that, not too much to say. We didn't watch this one very closely either. We had it on one of the TVs, but we mostly just checked the score.
Snooze fest, like
bit of a
most
snooze
of the games
fest
today, but...
Yeah, Kentucky kind of ran away with it there in the fourth quarter. They controlled the lead the entire game, but definitely in the fourth quarter put it away to go 2-0 to start the season.
Hey, way to go, Kentucky.
Remember, only a year ago they were 5-0.
That's right. They've had some solid wins
along
to start
with
the
Colorado,
season.
who then learned how to lose
Colorado,
7 in a row.
7 in a row, yeah.
But also Colorado was able to pull it out in overtime against Nebraska today.
So they have started 2-0. Another good start for Colorado.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not so good a start for Scott Frost, who had pretty good expectations for this year.
Yeah,
tough win.
Actually, I mean, in his defense, pretty high expectations for what they were a year ago.
Especially the quarterback, who they've said is a Heisman hopeful.
Yeah, I think he's pretty good, but I don't think he's anywhere in the Heisman conversation or ever had a chance to be.
Well, he's got time to change that if he is capable, but it's going to take a lot more than what we've seen so far.
Definitely struggled. Because the way they looked against South Alabama last week, the only reason...
Yeah, it was not pretty.
They had defensive touchdowns in that game. They did not look good on offense.
Because they were winless through,
the first, 6 or 7
weeks? Yeah, 6 or 7
of last
weeks.
season. It was... Oh, man, it was rough.
So, to come off of a season like that and then to be ranked automatically with hopes of a winning season, that's pretty high expectations.
It's only week 2. We'll see what happens.
Speaking of teams that are bad with hopes.
Oh, my favorite game of the night.
We're here with Ole Miss taking down the Arkansas Razorbacks 31-17.
Yep, the only thing that looked good was Ole Miss's jerseys. They always have a nice powder blue helmet with a nice little red jersey.
Yeah, me and Justin are fans of the helmet. Aaron, not so much.
Well, he likes the helmet. He likes the powder blue.
I like their uniforms that they had, just not the combination that they wore tonight.
But the gray pants.
The gray pants they wore tonight had that, I don't know what.
It was a blue stripe.
It was their other Ole Miss blue.
Yeah, it was just a regular blue stripe, but they had this powder blue helmet. It just didn't go together. I'm kind of a stickler on uniforms.
I think we all a bit are.
Yeah.
And, that really irritates me.
Like New Mexico State's jerseys today, awful.
Yeah, see, I didn't pay much attention to them because I watched 2 plays of the Alabama game. It was just we had so much. There's 4 other TVs with good games that I'm just biting my nails watching.
Yeah,
and it's hard to turn.
And every time you looked up, it was a touchdown.
Yeah, I was like, sweet. Was that a replay or is that a new one? And but back to the uniforms. I heard y'all say something about Michigan State's uniforms. We need to pull those up.
I wish we could.
Yeah, I'll pull them up right now.
I saw them for maybe a split second.
The worst.
And I believe
jerseys
of the day for sure.
I believe that
college football.
Yeah.
Wow, that's bold.
That is a bold statement. I'll have to look at them because, like I said, I didn't look at them long, but I believe
they're very Oregon-esque. I'll say that.
Well, I believe they released these last year.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure.
I don't know.
What I hate about these,
they make no sense.
Even more than the neon green on top of the dark green, is the giant state across the chest.
That's also in neon green over. What kind of green are we talking here for the state?
That's darker than a hunter
green. That's their
normal
green.
Yeah, the Michigan State green, and then you have this neon.
A weird neon green.
An Oregon neon.
See, that's the thing is I don't believe. I guess I could be wrong, but I don't think that's like a thing for Michigan State's past. Whereas Ole Miss has historically had powder blue.
That's for a while.
That's not their school colors, but it's still.
It's still a famous color. You think Ole Miss?
They've worn it
blue.
for a long time. It's not something new that they're just trying to introduce. It's kind of almost a throwback in a way.
Yeah, they work it into their logos even sometimes.
This, though, is just... I don't understand it
doesn't make any sense.
Why are you trying to introduce a new color that makes no... Why can't you just make good looking uniforms out of your own colors. I don't get the.
This right here was a
extra.
swing.
It is.
It was a swing and a miss, and they tried to go very modern, very flashy, and it just did not pan out.
See when they release those, because I believe I saw them last year. I could be
Okay,
wrong.
so here is the first unveiling.
Which I thought it was this year.
So
yeah.
this was this year. So it unveils new alternate football jersey. Twitter laughs.
Twitter laughs.
That's
Not
the name of this
surprised.
article.
That's
but,
pretty funny.
I'll read some of the tweets here. This is old news, of course, but lime jello is now an official color of the Michigan State football team.
I could have sworn that I saw these.
Oh, what was that one you
uniforms.
just passed?
That was the one I just read.
Unless they,
If Double Mint Gum were a football team.
if they could have released this like during the off season, and that might be what I'm thinking of, because I don't.
I think that's when they
specifically.
did.
I don't.
It was early
specifically-
August.
I thought they did earlier.
See,
than
but I
that.
think it would be earlier than that,
August 6th is when this was written.
because I don't.
Oh,
Specifically...
no, back in April. The MSU
Okay,
football
yeah.
team revealed their new alternate
That makes
jerseys.
sense.
Okay.
Yeah, so-
That's a little more on my timeline. Not because I don't specifically remember them wearing it against an opponent. I just remember seeing it
Yeah.
a long time before the season started.
Yeah.
I don't see these making it back next year.
Yeah, and I don't think they'll make it back the rest of the season.
I think that's something they need to donate to somebody overseas.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe just
I
try to
think-
make the material into something else. Just dye them a different color.
I mean, yeah.
The
this is
pants-
The state.
That's what you call a waste of money. They should not come to
I
mind.
don't know.
just
Yeah, I
hate
don't
the
know what
pants.
Nike
That
was-
looks almost. I don't know if this is the way I'm looking at your laptop or what, but that looks like a mint green from.
That's-
Yeah,
Yes.
Double Mint Gum. That's what someone said.
Yeah, it looks
Yeah,
terrible.
it's not even neon. It is more mint green.
But today, at the split second that I saw it, did.
It looked like neon.
It's
Yeah.
against
Neon.
that dark. It's this state right here against this dark green. It looks neon.
It's just.
And then their helmets are just the same color as the jersey.
Yeah, with
Right.
nothing.
Just
yeah.
their normal
Just the
Michigan State helmets.
Except it does have a little bit of the mint green on the logo there.
Does it?
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
So yeah, maybe at the end of the episode we'll go through the SEC teams and rank the jerseys.
Some jerseys, yeah, that would be good.
Yeah. So hopping back into the Ole Miss versus Arkansas game.
Sloppy game. I
It
mean,
was just. It was a really hard game to pick. I'll tell you that. With how poorly
How
both
bad,
played last week, it was really hard to choose because you have Arkansas, who I believe played Portland State, which I had never heard of, and I believe they only beat
Won
them
by
by
a
a touchdown.
touchdown?
Yeah, 17-10, I believe. And then you had Ole Miss playing Memphis, which is they're a decent team, but it's Memphis
And they
against
lost.
Ole Miss.
They
yeah,
lost
and
to
they
Memphis.
lost.
I will give them
And-
credit though; their defense looked pretty solid against Memphis.
But
And
they,
once again tonight, but I know it's Arkansas.
So it was a hard game to pick because you either pick Arkansas, which barely beat somebody I've never heard of, or Ole Miss, who loses to a team that's mediocre.
You wouldn't think they should lose to.
Yeah, like they should not lose to. So it was very hard to pick. I think the reason I went with Ole Miss because of a home game and something else. I think it was just the fact that they saw a little bit better of a team last week in Memphis, whereas Arkansas saw Portland State.
At home.
So fun fact, I'm 0 for 2 on Ole Miss so far in the SEC poll. So I picked Ole Miss last week. They let me down against Memphis. This week I went with Arkansas. They let me down.
I am not sure who I picked, whether I picked them or Memphis.
I can pull it up real quick.
I'm kind of thinking I picked Ole Miss because I expected them to beat Memphis. You know,
You would. I actually picked Memphis. I didn't see Ole Miss winning that game.
Really?
Since they were in Memphis, and just how Ole Miss has been playing this few
I
years.
just don't hold Memphis as a
But
a
see,
top tier team.
You had
mean,
Ole Miss last
yeah,
week.
see,
They've-
I believe I did.
They've challenged UCF. They played in the championship game in their conference. You know.
That was the other reason that I picked Ole Miss is because it was only a 4.5 spread.
Yeah.
And
Memphis were favorites. Yeah.
And so I wasn't gonna, choose a 3-point game on Ole Miss Memphis matchup.
Talk about South Carolina earlier. They let us down.
Mm-hmm.
Almost everyone picked South Carolina last week, but
Ya
the
boy.
three that did pick North Carolina got 3 points off of that one.
And your boy was one of them, like I mentioned earlier. I did guess that one correctly.
I'll go over the leaderboard real quick. So I'm not going to say everybody's names because they may not want to be mentioned. But Aaron is tied for second. I am down here, tied for what's that, fourth? Yeah. So
And this is out of 13 people?
yeah. So out of 13 people, Aaron, the leaders, the three tied for first. the two tied for first, has 24 points. Aaron and others has 21. I am down here with 19. So I'm going to have to take some risk. So it's a long season, but I may need to start taking some risks here soon.
I was tied for first last week, and like I said, the 3 games that let me down was Tennessee, BYU, which was winning up to the end of regulation, Texas, LSU, which shot themselves in the foot repeatedly, and then I took a bit of a risk with West Virginia. I did not expect them to win, but I did not expect them to get blown out either.
Right. As they did.
But hey, good start for Ole Miss.
I figured the worst. I figured realistically, if I would have lost that game, I would be down by 1. So, or if I would have won, I would have been up by 2. So it would have been it was a risk reward situation, and I didn't think I would be in second place right now.
So Ole Miss, even though they won it, it was not impressive whatsoever.
But 1-0
until the fourth quarter.
1-0 in conference play. Corral with 2 touchdowns, 16 for 24, 246 yards. And Phillips there with 26 carries, 143 yards, and 2 touchdowns of his own. But just a sloppy game. And this was a game that was just such a slow burn. Ole Miss getting on the board in the first quarter, 7-0, leading 10-3 in the second, and then going in after halftime, coming out scoring again. But both teams putting up 14 in the fourth. Didn't matter. Ole Miss 31-17. And that's all I have to say about that one. I don't know if y'all have anything to add.
I don't have anything else.
I don't think I've spoke my piece on
it. Yeah, so.
Don't expect anything else from these teams the rest of the year.
No, definitely not. So we're moving on to Auburn, Tulane.
Oh, yeah. Let's go ahead and talk about that one.
So this one was interesting. Last week.
Typical, as I say, typical Vanderbilt. Typical Auburn as well.
Definitely an Auburn performance. So last week, Auburn coming out clutch with the win over Oregon. Bo Nix showing out at the end of the game.
Not the game, not the first, first half.
Yeah, not too hot for most of the game even, but
definitely looked like a true freshman.
Yeah, it's just understandable.
Playing in a big game, it was understandable, and then
I just love his leadership. The way he took control of the huddle, and especially on that last drive, you can see he's focused.
I just really like the way he celebrated with Gus, because that's something I can make fun of. Yeah. It was great.
Boom. Yeah, he's definitely been the most interesting player of the SEC this year so far. Just the new guy, kind of didn't know what to expect out of him. We knew he was great in high school, but that doesn't always translate.
High school quite close to us. I think I watched him play a couple times.
Yep, Pinson Valley.
Yeah.
Won 2 straight state championships. His dad's the coach who played at Auburn back in the 90s.
I believe the most passing yards in Alabama high school football history.
So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, quite an impressive career.
Yeah,
he was
definitely.
Probably playing since 8th grade. I don't know that for a fact, but he probably was.
He probably was.
He started because he was playing somewhere else, and then they went to Pinson. I forgot where he was playing before Pinson Valley.
I did not know that.
I think it was like McAdory or something.
Really?
Or something like that.
And if he would have stayed at McAdory, I believe they won a couple state championships without him.
Yeah.
Either that or I can't think of the school he was playing at.
Also, I know that the announcers kind of mentioned Patrick Nix way too much in that Oregon game. But, you got to kind of establish the storyline for the people that aren't aware. They did it too much, obviously, at least in my opinion. But props to him for raising Bo Nix and getting him ready for this level. Because he's been his coach basically his whole life. And to just get him to play to this level, I mean, way better than – it seems he's going to be way better than Patrick ever was.
Oh, yeah, because Patrick wasn't starting. He was under Stan White. And then when Stan White got hurt against Alabama, he came in and he did the famous Nix to Sanders, where they beat Alabama that year back in the early 90s.
Yeah, maybe 93, 94.
I think it was 93.
93, yeah, I think so. So, yeah, definitely some history there, and I'm excited to see how Bo does the rest of the season. Tonight, he went 19 of 37, 207 yards, a touchdown through the air. Joey Gatewood got to
Came in.
He got a little bit more action this week than last week. Still not enough, in my opinion, but I'd like to see more of him.
Well, the thing is with Auburn, you would think you expect more of the O-line from having all their returning starters back and some experience. But once again, the run game struggled in the first half with 44 yards in the first half. They came back and had like 120 130 in the second half, but they've just been struggling. And when Auburn doesn't have a run game, they're not going to be a good team.
No, with that offense, and obviously with any offense, but definitely with that offense, you've got to have a strong line.
They got to establish the run, because then that opens up everything else. That opens up room for the quarterback to run, because Bo Nix has good speed, and he fits this offense, because you have to have a mobile quarterback. Because it worked with Nick Marshall. You see him moving all over the place. So
there's some questions I have with Auburn, and it's strictly coaching. And it's the first question is, why does Malzahn resent recruiting linemen? This past year he claimed, I haven't recruited many linemen, but this year it's going to be our biggest recruiting class, 4 linemen coming up. But why now? Why hasn't he been doing this before? I don't have the stat in front of me, but I remember hearing somewhere that it feels like he recruits like a third of what Alabama and the other big schools recruit in the offensive line.
Yeah, and that's where it all starts too, is at the O-line. If you don't have a good O-line, you're not going to be able to get anything done.
That's where everything starts, and it just seems like such a simple thing. It's a simple thing to understand.
Yeah. I love what he's done. I mean, you got to credit this to Steele, though, with the defense, what they've been able to recruit.
That defense is nasty.
I love that Auburn finally has a good defense, because when you think back to 2013, when they went to the championship game, their defense was horrendous. Just the fact they were able to make it that far was just a statement how good the offense was. But I've just been waiting for a good defense, and it's finally here. And then once we've actually finally have a good defense, and you never know what you're going to expect from the offense.
And Gus Malzahn always does his best work when he's on the hot seat, and he definitely is this season.
Always finds a way to pull it out.
The seat's always warm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He always finds a way to pull it out.
So my second question
is... Just like in 2017. He was on the hot seat that year.
Every year.
Yeah.
He just has a way.
He does.
I don't know how he does it. And he somehow masters a nice 5-year... I mean, how much did he end up getting? Like what? 7?
It was a 7-year, $49 million.
So he's getting $7 million a year.
Yes.
To be mediocre.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I understand. I mean,
mediocre.
To come second and third in the SEC West.
In the SEC West, not
we're
the
not
SEC.
In the East. I mean, if
not
we're
the SEC, just
this is
SEC
the West. Yeah.
Granted, it's
tough.
quite something
because you have LSU, A&M, I mean, and then Alabama. So
yeah.
It's hard to get through that division.
So my next question is one that you've been asking a lot, Justin, and one that you see a lot asked on Twitter. For Gus Malzahn, is where is the checkdowns for this young quarterback?
Yeah, well, Gus has never had any checkdowns. You would think true freshman coming in, especially again, starting this first game, you're playing 11-ranked team against Oregon, and all you see these nice vertical routes going down the field. Nobody's open, and Nix is just running around. Because as a true freshman, as a guy that kind of did it all in high school, he's thinking, I'm going to run around, get these first downs, be able to run all over the place.
With a poor line, you have to run around.
Yeah, I mean, and he's not, he'll get used to stepping up in the pocket more and kind of standing in the pocket. But what doesn't make any sense, you think, just give him an easy little, hey, nobody else is open downfield. Here's your running back right here. Here's someone, or someone just coming across the field. I don't understand, because then he's running all over the place. I can't tell you how many times Nix has had to throw it away already to start the season. I've already gotten tired of seeing him run around and just throw it out of bounds.
It would be a unique stat to keep up with.
I would love to see that.
I'd love.
Well, I guess hurries, but
Yeah.
I would like to know how many hurries and how many
times he's thrown the ball out of bounds.
How many times he's actually had to get rid of it.
So here's one of the more interesting stats of this game. Whitlow with 3 fumbles tonight.
Yeah, and Auburn, we're expecting a lot out of Whitlow this year. I mean, he had a good game against Oregon, no ball trouble that first game, and tonight he was just sloppy.
Yeah, 23 carries, 96 yards. He did get himself a touchdown.
Yeah. He always looks – I always love when they put him in the Wildcat. They usually have a good run coming off the Wildcat. I love that formation for him. But sloppy game, handling the ball.
Another interesting stats. This defense, as good as it is, got no sacks tonight.
Well,
against Tulane.
Against Tulane,
yeah,
which is surprising.
I guess the thing that helped with that is the mobile quarterback, and we'll talk about him. He was 10 of 33 for 103 yards. His QBR was 16. So you got to give credit to Auburn for that. He was at least rushed enough to he's getting the ball off, but he's not completing anything.
Yeah, I don't think it's enough to justify. But this is one of those games tonight that we had on one of 5 TVs, and I looked up there every once in a while because I thought surely Auburn would be able to handle this.
Yeah.
But it seemed like every time I looked up there was a wide open Tulane receiver dropping it right out of his bread.
And not
basket.
even that. The quarterback,
and one of those
anything. He couldn't throw a ball in the ocean.
Yeah, one of those was not even the quarterback. Like it was that. I believe
the best throw of the night was a wide receiver,
yeah.
and then the other wide receiver dropped it in the end zone.
I did not watch it as intently as y'all did, but I'll say that the wide receiver didn't look too hot. Yeah, but, it would have been a much closer game.
You did have a lot of talk about Tulane and their offense, and they had like 250 rushing yards last week, and Auburn shut them down in the rushing game. So,
and sometimes sacks just don't happen. If you can get
especially a quarterback like this who's able to move around a lot.
Yeah, if you're able to get him in a frenzy,
it's better to just contain and focus on just containing and letting him get the ball.
And he knows that someone's
depending
coming
on
all the time.
I don't think that was necessarily the game plan for Tulane, but that is sometimes the case.
And with this defense, they will have plenty of chances to make a lot of sacks in the future. So, nothing to worry about there. But just still interesting. Auburn does pull this game out 24-6.
They definitely play up and down to who they are and who they are playing, and it seems like they can never just come out firing.
No, that's true.
You had the same thing last year, too.
Or finish. Like, if they do come out firing, they can't finish.
Because, against I recall 2 years ago when they had a chance to beat LSU in Baton Rouge, and they were up, by 2 touchdowns in that game. They couldn't finish. Even last year against LSU, they were up by 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Couldn't finish the game.
Could not finish. And I think that is the worst quality of Gus Malzahn's coaching is how inconsistent he is. When you have a consistent good coach, that's great. When you have a consistent bad coach, the cancer is identified, you can cut it out. But when you have an inconsistent coach like Malzahn that is able to save his butt when he needs to, but maybe not perform when he's expected to, it just ends in these weird contracts that should we keep extending them or should we fire him? And
are we okay with 8 to 10 win seasons for the rest of us?
That's the thing. You're stuck in this where you're
slightly above mediocre.
You're right in the middle.
Yeah.
You're not great every season.
Average.
You're not terrible every season. You're just right there in the middle.
You're above average, and you don't want to end up like
Tennessee.
That's
a dangerous position to be.
And where would you guys rank Gus Malzahn in the history of Auburn coaches? Because he's got to be 1 or 2.
One or two?
He's got to be.
You got to throw Tuberville up there.
You got him, you got Dye.
Yeah, that's why I said 1 or 2 is not even. Those were the first 2 that came to my mind. And I'm not real well versed in Auburn head football coaches, and then those 2 are the first 2 that came to my mind.
Yeah,
and
but
course,
of
course, Jordan too. What he did with Auburn.
Sure. Yeah.
Winning the national championship in whether it was the 50s, 60s. So.
What impresses me is how Gus somehow sweet-talked his way to being as loved as he was by the people who mattered. And
what's interesting about that...
It is impressive that he came from a high school to,
but that's
winning
always
a national championship.
I've always been a critic of him, though, is he just runs a high school offense.
Yeah. But it's still impressive that he came from that level. Is what I'm saying.
The swinging gate is a testament to high school football.
The swinging
college teams should not run the swinging gate, in my opinion. There's no reason for it.
Unless you have something that you just...
Unless you have great
Unless
athletes.
it works.
Unless...
It's like a 2-point conversion when it's got to work.
I think use the swinging gate when you don't match up well against your opponent.
Yeah, it's just got to work. That's all.
That's the only time you should.
You can't run out there as an SEC West and run the swinging gate and it not work.
Yeah,
just look like an idiot.
Really, the only thing you can say about Malzahn is just when he was OC in 10 when they won the national championship. You had Cam Newton. And he could have had any coach, and Cam would have made him look good that year.
Absolutely,
for sure.
And me and you have watched a lot of bad high school football over the last year and a half.
We have
2 years, and honestly, I can't name a single time we saw the swinging gate in the last 2 years against watching some bad high school football.
Yeah.
But see, and that's another problem too is you see a lot of these coaches adapt and they can bring in any kind of quarterback. Auburn's got to have a specific type of quarterback to run that offense. You can't have a guy like Stidham, who had a great year in 17, but then comes back in 18 and just doesn't work because you had Kerryon Johnson, who was able. I mean, he had 1,400 yards back in 17, and they killed him.
And the line this year was the line last year, and they were inexperienced.
Yeah.
So worse.
And they did not have a 1,000-yard rusher for the first time.
Yes.
In a long time. So
backpedaling a little bit to Gus convincing the people that matter to give him some money. He has terrible personal skills. I feel like he's known for that. He's not.
He's kind of a. He's kind of an awkward kind of guy.
He's very awkward. He's not very personable.
You just watch some of his interviews. It's just.
It's hard to talk to him.
Yeah,
it seems. I've never talked to him.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
But it just seems like this isn't a guy that you just want to sit down and have a beer with. This is just the guy you see in the cubicle next to you.
You just don't think of him as a coach. He's just
the nerd that you expect to win football games. That's why you're paying him. I don't see there's any reason you give him that money other than to perform.
Yeah.
It's not a relationship. It's not liking. So I don't know how he pulled it off.
There
must be more to him than we can see.
That's just the confusing thing about Auburn too.
Yeah.
As an Auburn fan, Justin, what is the view on Gus Malzahn, do you think, as the Auburn fan base in general?
Well, he's been. A lot of people want him out for a long time now.
Yeah.
I mean, I've wanted him out. 17 was great, but it's always. That's just the Auburn way, that you see them win these big games, and then when it matters most, okay, we beat Georgia and Alabama, and then we go to the championship game, you're thinking, okay, we handled Georgia pretty well. But he killed Kerryon. He's just using one running back. That's what you see about Auburn is there's just one running back he's going to use the whole season. If Kerryon gets hurt against Alabama, it's not the same the rest of the season. And then once you don't have Kerryon in a run game, that's why they got killed by Georgia. So, I don't know. It's always just... You never know what you're going to expect from him. And the play calls some of the play calls he has in his thought process, just against Oregon. When they took back a fumble all the way to the 2-yard line, he says, I'm going to do the little shovel pass right up on the 2-yard line. We're not just going to power our way up. Bring in Joey Gatewood, 240, 250-pound quarterback, just running right up the middle. Well, little shovel pass, lose 5 yards. It's just stuff like that. And then not going for 2 after they take the lead. It's 26-21. Hey, maybe we should go for 2 just in case Oregon scores. No, we're just going to kick the field goal. It's just things like that. Like you said, inconsistency, and you never know what you're going to expect from Malzahn. But I wouldn't mind if he was gone. He's had his moments, and he's had his not-so-good moments, too.
Well, speaking of something you never know what you're going to get, we did not know what we were going to get in this LSU-Texas game. Aaron in particular.
We had a Texas fan over here for tonight.
Aaron, who picked Texas.
All about the point.
Brother. Yeah.
And I was pretty surprised at the outcome.
This was definitely the biggest game of the night.
I think we were just surprised about how high scoring it was.
I was, yeah, for sure, against these two defenses.
I want to know what the over-under
was. I wasn't just because of the 2 quarterbacks, and I was shocked the way the scores happened. Like, how many were rushing? How many rushing touchdowns were there?
Let's see. So there was one rushing touchdown for Texas.
Yeah, exactly.
That came by Sam Ehlinger, the quarterback, and one also for LSU.
Yeah, and the rest were all passing. That's what surprised me. It wasn't necessarily the scoring; it was how it was done against. I believe I saw where Texas only had 3. Starting DBs return,
and their secondary is weak.
I think they had 3 true freshmen at linebacker, which is
either that or running back. I don't know if they have.
Yes,
which is ridiculous.
Yeah. So DBs turning out too well this game in the game of
the DBUs.
The DBUs, yeah.
Texas was claiming to be DBU.
That's why I was so surprised by how many passing touchdowns there were.
Yeah, and
I really thought there would be more on the ground.
It's the new and improved LSU offense.
So 8 total, 4 apiece for these teams, which is very surprising.
Over-under was 57, and there's total 83 points in this game.
Yeah, a total of 5 touchdowns on each. It just happened to be a field goal that set them apart. Or was it 2?
And there would have been...
I think there's 1.
Some terrible coaching, yeah.
So if there would have been... So I picked this game because... I kind of wanted to see LSU fall, or
I mean, who doesn't?
And I kind of wanted to get Texas hype because there's enough hype in the SEC West when there's LSU and Texas A&M and if Auburn continues and Alabama, but there's not that much when you see Jalen Hurts in Oklahoma and their defense has improved. And I do want Texas to be back, so
hey, Texas
I wanted
is back.
to.
Texas is back.
I wanted Texas to come out and play, and it was a home game for them, prime time,
and still they weren't favorites.
And
still.
I saw all the stats like DBU and everything, and I'm obviously wrong, but I thought Sam Ehlinger, not being a great quarterback, but I thought he had a little edge over Joe Burrow. I thought he was a little overhyped, but
wow.
he performed tonight, so I
This
can't say much tonight.
This was definitely Joe Burrow's best performance.
This is the
yet.
new and improved Burrow right here.
It is. He has stepped up his game, and I think he showed that tonight for sure.
I mean, when's the last time an LSU quarterback threw for 470?
When's the last time an LSU quarterback threw the ball?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But, I mean, 471 yards, you never think LSU quarterback. You think, oh, that's somebody.
And not just that, LSU. But he went 31 for 39 with 4 touchdowns. He did have an interception, but I think that's excusable.
That was tipped, too, I think, on that play.
I believe it was. So, you take one interception if you get 4 touchdowns, 31-39. That kind of consistency in the night.
I mean, you got to give it to Ehlinger, too. He had 4 TDs, no turnovers, and he threw for 400 yards.
Yeah, and 31 for 47. I mean, both these quarterbacks.
He played a great game, and I picked them because it was I liked the matchup, and I thought Texas had turned over a new leaf as well. They came off a big win against Georgia, and it wasn't like Georgia was, oh, man.
It was one of those games where Georgia...
See, I don't think that because of one reason, they talked so much crap at the end of the year.
That's Georgia, though.
It wasn't like an Alabama situation where they wouldn't make it and they went to a bowl game and they was like,
who cares?
Yeah, it's what is it? The game means nothing. It was more like, well, we're going to prove to you why we should have been in the playoffs,
and they didn't show it.
And they didn't show it. That's why. That's the only reason. Otherwise, I would agree with you. But they literally had, in every single one of the interviews, they said we're not going to talk about it. We're going to show you.
They did.
And they said that, and then Texas came out there and showed them what was up. And so coming off that win with Sam Ehlinger, and I just liked the matchup. It was at home, and then they get the ball, and they start off aggressive immediately. I believe the first play was a screen, just trying to get a big play, get the momentum going, and they moved the ball pretty well the first drive, but I think they ended up punting it. And that's when my doubt started to set in. I was like, oh, man, I felt like they needed to start off good. And then they punted it, and I wasn't feeling too hot. And then I believe they went 3 and out. They got LSU at a 3 and out, or maybe they get 1 first down on the first drive, and then they got the ball back. And then they went right back down the field, and that's when it was 3rd and goal. And they had it set up perfectly. Or no, it was 4th and goal, and they decided to go for it. And
great play call.
I liked the call. I really did. It was just at home starting off, you got plenty of time to recover. You're gonna pin them at the 1 if you don't
Might
get
as well
it.
Go for it.
Yeah, go for it. And then he drops it.
This
it was
wide
open.
One of those
the easiest catch. I don't know.
Like you throw to a little toddler.
This was a toss. It was the softest pass you've ever seen.
And he just drops it.
He just bats
no
it
one
right
around
down.
him, not even touching him.
It should have been the easiest reception of his life.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, he doesn't get it. 0-0. And then that's when Joe, the next time, throws a pick, and they get it within their own... They get it within the red zone.
Right there once again.
Yeah, right above it.
8-5.
After that, you don't go for it again. You got to capitalize.
You got to
in
get
a
the
game
points.
like this. You have to get points.
Yeah,
that's what matters. And they went for it again and did not get it. And that's when
they had a touchdown. It got called back.
Yeah, that's right. They did score, and they reviewed it. His knee was down. And that I don't get the play call there. Like, I liked the first time. I get that. The second time you got to take points in that situation, and it was bad after that. But they still keep it close for a while. Like if they at one point they still would have been late in the fourth quarter. They still would have been tied if they would have made just one field goal. Or if they would have scored a touchdown, they would have been up.
Yeah.
And so I still liked the pick. I don't know. It was rough to see it happen the way that it did. I would have rather been a blowout, so my heart wouldn't have exploded. It was just rough to see them have every chance and continually shoot themselves in the foot.
When Burrow had his last passing touchdown,
it was on a third and 17.
They brought
it. Yeah, which was I still like that call. They put him in man because they put him in man, which is what Texas is usually.
And you got to be when you bring in all linebackers in that. You got to be in man.
They put it in man and sent the house, and I liked it, and it seemed like they were getting to him.
Somehow he got out.
I was up, and he just stepped forward, and they went past him.
Right there.
Yep, that was what I thought the game, and then I saw Joe Burrow do a little wave, and I'm not Joe Burrow's biggest fan, as you might have been able to tell.
He's a little cocky.
And I really wanted to come back at that point, and so they scored that last touchdown, and I was so happy when they hit that onside kick. And
that was.
I thought it was
that onside kick was absolutely heartbreaking for Texas fans.
Perfect onside kick by the kicker, though.
Perfect onside kick and almost a perfect recovery of it. It just couldn't hold on, and he had to die for it. So it's understandable that he never had possession of it, but it was so close.
Yeah,
and it was just hard to watch him not getting that. But LSU walks away with the
great win,
the best win so far of the season for any team, 45-38. Number 6 knocks off the number 9 team. Where do you think both these teams go in the rankings from here?
Oh yeah, we were talking about this. LSU would probably be bumped up to 5. Ohio State would go to 6. And then Texas will probably be bumped back to 11 because you had A&M losing at 12 too.
Yeah, that's about what I was thinking. I've also agreed. Ohio State, maybe. Aaron has a little bit of an argument that, Ohio State hasn't lost. Why would they go down? And that's a very valid argument.
Just haven't played any ranked teams yet.
Where's the? Can you pull up the rankings? Or the standings?
Yeah, let me pull those up real quick. But I just feel like that's such a proven win. I don't know how you don't put them in the top 5.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me see if I can explain this. My argument is I wouldn't have the setup that it is right now. So if I started moving everybody to what I thought the best teams was, I'd start moving multiple people. But since they're not doing that, they're not just saying this is who we think is the best team, then I don't see a point in moving teams that haven't lost, that haven't got a chance to prove themselves. That's where I see, because it's only week 2.
Right.
Because, obviously, it's going to sound biased, but if I was going to say the best team, then I would have Alabama number 1, know? And then, but you can't justify that right now.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to do it because I would sound like an idiot and I would get booed from every person other than an Alabama fan. So that's my reasoning, if that makes sense.
See, here's the thing. I don't understand why they just don't do this. What's the point of even coming out with any rankings until the playoffs? Until you do the first playoff ranking.
Well, I think it's fun.
Yeah, it is fun.
To see what before the AP thinks and the coaches poll.
And it's fun to have expectations and to see who can meet those and who doesn't.
Well, fun for some teams. When Auburn has good expectations, you can go and expect a terrible season.
See, because in my opinion, if I was going to go start moving people around, this would never happen. But in my opinion,
I'd move Michigan out of the top 10.
Yeah, I would take Michigan out of the top 10. I would take Notre Dame out of the top 10. They both of their losses, or both of their wins, were worse than Texas' loss, in my opinion.
No, that's definitely Michigan's win.
But they're not going to do that. They're going to keep them in the top 10 because they didn't lose, and that's the only reason.
And you can't drop them out of the top
I do think that Michigan drops, though. Whether it's a place or 2. They'll stay in the top 10.
Maybe they move Notre Dame above Michigan, but...
Maybe, but, that's the point, is there's not enough... they're not going to move that many people around because they didn't lose.
Yeah, the only...
And I think that's bullcrap. Because you didn't lose doesn't mean I can't tell what kind of football team you're going to be.
Sure.
It's just I don't think Auburn should be in the top 10 right now. They haven't lost.
I wish
and
they
they've
were
already
top
beat
10.
and they've already beat an 11 ranked.
And
I don't think they're a top 10 football team. I could be wrong, but I don't think they are, so I wouldn't have them.
They jumped 6 spots after the win over Oregon. I'll be interested to see how they do in the rankings after a not so spectacular
just stay the
win.
same.
Yeah, I would imagine stay the same. I don't really see anybody that would jump them. Maybe Florida. I wouldn't,
because they played UT Martin.
Yeah, and their win over Miami was not impressive whatsoever, especially now that Miami has lost again.
That's why Florida dropped in the rankings.
There's just not that many. There's not enough proof. Like
it's 2 weeks in the season.
Yeah, like Wisconsin's at 17, and they haven't played anybody to really say that they're any better than that.
Now
but I think they are, so I would put them pretty far up. I don't know if they would be in my top 10, but they would be up there.
Yeah, these are just opinions.
And they're basically opinions, and that's like Texas A&M. I would have to really study this, but I don't know that I would move them up or down, even though they got beat pretty handily by Clemson.
Yeah, I'm not
but that's Clemson is number 1 in the nation, and I think
that's the best loss you can have, and it was on the road by 2.
Yeah, it was only 2 touchdowns,
24-10.
And it was on the road in their house, and I don't know. I don't think it's that. I mean, Clemson beat them pretty handedly. Like it wasn't an actual
had a chance.
Yeah, and they had a lot of stuff brewing from last year. Like they weren't going to let them in the game again. But I don't think it justifies Texas A&M moving down or necessarily up.
Well, I mean, you're not. I don't think I would put Utah above.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Played anybody. Washington hasn't played anybody. Penn State barely was
struggling.
But
they're gonna move. But they're gonna move just because it was a loss.
I don't
know. That's what I'm saying.
They may move down 1.
I would say they'd probably go down to
I highly doubt they
13
stay where they are.
or 14.
Yeah.
If they do move.
Wouldn't be surprised if they stayed where they were. I'd say they'd probably drop 1 or 2.
So that's my arguments on the rankings. I can do it how I know they're going to do it, or I can know how I think it should be done.
That's why I would just do a coaches poll instead of this AP poll. Just have the coaches come out with some rankings, what they think. Because I like Auburn at 13th in the coaches poll. That makes more sense.
Mm-hmm. And they got UCF above Oregon. What do you think about that? With Oregon's 1 loss to Auburn.
I don't know.
And UCF has played absolutely nobody to start the season as well.
Yeah, if you put those 2 teams against each other, I don't know what the outcome is. I have, honest to God, no idea.
I don't even know what UCF team is like this year. I mean, you can never judge that team by the teams they play.
It's because you don't know them.
Well, yeah. That's true.
Yeah, it's because they're...
But, of course, I can't say anything either because UCF is Auburn's daddy, just the way they beat him a couple years ago. So.
They are the reason that they consider themselves national champions.
Yes. So I hope you're proud of yourself.
You can thank Auburn for that.
Yes.
Yeah, I hope you're proud of yourself.
Another thing to add to Gus Malzahn's hot seat.
Plenty of things always there.
So, y'all want to jump right into ranking the uniforms?
Oh, yeah, let's do that.
I'll pull them all up for us.
How long are we at on this?
Let's see.
Well, let's just put this in perspective. It was at the start of the second half of the Stanford game, and he said, surely to God we'll be at the end. We won't be recording at the end of this. There's 1 minute and 30 left.
What's the score
goodness.
This game?
I don't know.
So we're at an hour 38. Let's try to round it out before 2 hours.
Or we could just split this into 2 episodes and go into talking about uniforms in the next one.
Yeah, that's true. We could.
We could leave uniforms for next one. I don't mind that either way. But whatever y'all want to do. What do you think? If we've got to an hour and 38, what's the difference between an hour and 50?
Yeah, we might as well do the uniforms.
Yep. Yeah, if you're listening at this point, you're probably not going to tune out for the next 12, 20 minutes, whatever.
You might have already tuned out at the 30 minute
Holy crap,
mark.
it is 45-20.
Wow, they kicked their
butt.
Okay, so we haven't looked up at the score in a while, but USC handedly...
so Clay Helton.
Yeah,
he has saved his job.
And they're about to score again.
Oh my goodness.
Backup quarterback.
Oh, they're down to the 4. So 45-20
There's a
USC.
flag. But, yep, that is...
39 seconds left.
That's pretty surprising.
Yeah, that is pretty surprising.
Yeah,
usually an unranked USC team the last couple of years has just been mediocre. They win some they shouldn't. They lose some. Lose a lot they shouldn't. And then Stanford, it seems like they always have that low 20 ranked team. They always have a chance to... always have potential, and they just always mess up for somebody.
I guess I'm kind of not surprised either because they barely got by Northwestern last week. So I think people aren't really
Northwestern
sold on Stanford.
always has a little fight in them, though.
Yeah, but Northwestern's never a team you think, oh yeah, they're pretty good.
No, I
Even
never
though they
think they're
made
pretty
it to
good.
the-
I just think they're always the ones that are.
Okay,
They're always going to fight because they made it to the Big Ten championship last year.
Yeah.
So reeling us-
technically, they were pretty good.
Yeah,
But
well,
Reeling us
the
back-
Big Ten is
consider
just
them.
that bad.
Yeah.
How about that?
Reeling us back in on topic to save some time so that we don't have to go through every one of these teams and rank them. Just a day ago, FanBuzz ranked them
convenient.
for us. So how about we just go through these and we just see if we agree or disagree. So these are all 14 home uniforms from first to
Should
worst.
we start with worst or should we just...
Yes, let's go backwards. So I'm going to scroll. Oh, maybe it already goes
Oh, it
backwards.
already starts.
Okay. Well, no spoilers for what number we're... Okay, so
Oh, yeah, I agree with that one.
number 14, we're going to start out with the Arkansas Razorbacks.
Disagree.
When I was thinking the worst, I was thinking Vanderbilt.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I like
It's just, I don't think it's really something you can mess up.
I
No,
like
but
it.
I just never really liked
I
the
love that
uniforms.
anchor on the back of the helmet too. I just
I'm
really like that. Yeah, probably Arkansas is probably about right. Maybe
I mean, it's just kind of...
probably between them and Mississippi State.
There's
I mean,
nothing in-
I just,
I'd probably, maybe I'd put South Carolina at the bottom.
maybe Tennessee?
Okay, yeah, Tennessee's at the very
Thank
bottom.
you.
Now,
Okay.
is that your bias, just you being Alabama
No,
fan
that's
and the
because
orange?
it
is
yes,
ugly.
that's 100%. We're talking about colors,
Yeah.
schemes, and uniforms. All these are basic. None of them are real flashy.
I mean, Arkansas
They're all
pretty basic.
Yeah, it's basic as it gets. I'm not disagreeing. It's one of the last ones because it has nothing going for it. But if it comes down to plain home uniforms, I'm picking that red over that orange. I can tell you that.
Yeah, that orange is just
Atrocious.
It's a bad look.
Now, they had a decent looking alternate uniform.
Yeah, they look good in all white with as little orange as
And then
possible.
they had those all gray. Those weren't too bad. The
That's
all
what we
gray.
need to do is have a bigger segment going through every single uniform.
All the uniforms they
Yeah,
Maybe we'll
all
do
the
that next week.
combinations or something. But just plain home uniforms, I'm going with that gaudy
It's an
orange.
ugly
It's
How
the
about
best.
this week we go home, next week away, and then we go alternates for week 3. So yeah, I'm probably gonna say Tennessee. I know it's classic. I know you can't change it if you want to keep the tradition.
Yeah, you think of that
That
color.
doesn't
you think
mean
of,
it's getting any
But
prettier.
screw tradition. Change your colors.
It doesn't mean
They're
it's
not
getting,
changing those colors.
it doesn't mean it gets any prettier.
No, it doesn't. And I think any sensible Tennessee fan will admit that. Is that
Probably,
fair?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, okay. So let's go to number 13. We got Mississippi State Bulldogs. Very similar to Arkansas. Not much going on. You
Yeah,
got a
it's
little
just simple.
You got your dark red. You got your white, and that's the white face mask, just like Arkansas's.
All right, now go ahead and scroll down and let's pin them against each other because I already see that the next one is South Carolina.
Makes sense.
And I don't. It's just
Now that color, I've always thought that's now they're black uniforms. Those aren't bad, but that kind of
yeah.
I don't like the shoulder stripes here.
yeah.
You
But I
got
also-
you have a red stripe on a red jersey. I just think it's dumb.
Okay, I did not notice that until you said that, so that is dumb and it takes off points. But if you scroll back up to the I don't like this going around the.
Yeah, the stripes on the arm there.
I would prefer the stripes on the South Carolina than the Mississippi State, so I guess I kind of agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with I like the South Carolina slightly better than the Mississippi State.
Yeah, I don't like the font on the South Carolina numbers either.
I don't. but
I don't mind
I
Mississippi
just-
State's is basic, and
Those
so
really-
is
those
Arkansas.
stripes-
Arkansas's been bad.
The stripes around the arm,
Oh, well.
that really gets me on the Mississippi State.
So number
They got
11,
Tennessee.
we've got the Tennessee Volunteers. Yeah, nothing much else to say here. We talked about that one pretty much in depth. Number 10, Missouri.
Now their uniforms today, I thought, looked pretty solid with the white helmet and the black uniforms.
I thought
Yeah.
they looked quite hideous.
Really,
I think it would look great white on white. I do not like the white with the black
I
with the
thought
white.
they weren't too bad.
They
for
look like
that.
an Oreo to me. It just an Oreo that someone pissed on with a slight little bit of yellow. It just didn't look good to me.
Yeah.
Now these uniforms pictured right here, I love. I
Those are
love
good,
the.
yeah.
I
Love the
love
Mizzou.
the Mizzou. I love the font on all of it. I like the black on black, and I like the gold or yellow or whatever the hell it is.
Yeah, I would put this above Vandy for sure, which is next
I
on the
would.
list.
I would, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't, and this is just one guy's opinion, so, it's not necessarily
Or
right or
three.
wrong. No, I'm talking about the guy that made this article. Yeah, our opinions are almost always wrong, I'm sure. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, they're fine. I like Mizzou's uniforms. It's hard to mess up all black uniforms.
Those always look good.
Yeah.
I think they look pretty good. I really like the font and everything, but
we got all
now
black.
I'm looking at those. Those are pretty good, though.
Yeah.
See, I don't.
You got the chain across the middle of the helmet.
Yeah, with the anchor on the back. I don't know. It's hard to.
Now, what I don't love here is this V around the neck.
See, I do like that.
And see, I don't like.
Oh, really?
I don't like the number.
The font.
Yeah, the font.
See,
the
that
number.
doesn't. That seems pretty plain to me. That doesn't seem like anything. I like that. I do. It's actually pretty close between those two. I don't know which one I would pick.
Yeah.
Up next, we got Texas A&M. I like that.
I've always liked the stripe. Yeah, the stripes across the shoulder pads. I've always been a fan of that.
I'm not a fan of the gray stripes on the numbers.
Yeah.
I think it's a little too much. But
I think it matches with the gray face mask that they have and the little subtle grays that they have. I like them better than most. I do not like them better than the last two black jerseys.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
I like the black. I like black, but I really Vandy's got a lot more going for it, and where these are a little more traditional, Mizzou's a little more got the new font and everything. I really like that.
They've always got solid helmets. I think.
So I would have to put them right after the last two.
So this one's a little higher than you probably expect. Number 7, Kentucky Wildcats. I get it because it's one of the most unique in the SEC right now.
Checkered on the shoulder pads.
You've got the all blue helmet, jersey, pants, and then you got the checkered white checkers on the sleeves there and the white stripe down the middle. I get it why people would be attracted to this because it is different for the SEC. I don't think different means it's better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These are all the way back behind Texas A&M for me.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. They're above the last few regular plain red ones because they do have a little more detail in them. But I like the stripe for Texas A&M is just as iconic as that to me.
Yeah.
And once again, I like the black uniforms.
I'd put it
better.
at like 10.
10. I think that they will rank higher for me on their away jerseys.
Yeah.
Because I like that helmet.
I
I
like
like the colors. It's just too much, in my opinion.
For those, yes.
Number 6, we got the Ole Miss Rebels.
Now, depending on what jerseys we're talking about.
If we're talking, I'm just going off the ones.
The ones on here,
pictures.
this makes sense.
Yeah, this is just the standard home. So you got your standard helmet, the dark blue jerseys, dark blue pants.
Kind of.
This go pretty far down for me. I don't love this at all.
I don't like the stripes.
It's hard to ever go wrong when your colors are red, white, and blue.
Yeah, those are always great, yeah.
But
I don't think they necessarily went wrong. It's just they didn't go right.
It's just there.
They're not flashy. They're just, they're just...
And like this
they
article...
got more than Arkansas. They got more than Mississippi State. They got more than Tennessee. I don't know if they would rank above... I don't know if they would rank above Kentucky for me.
I would only just because if we're talking about all jerseys.
Out of all jerseys,
blue,
powder blue, yes, but the ones featured right here, no.
Yeah, I'll put it below.
Which is just the regular blue.
Just your traditional jerseys. Yeah, it's I don't know. Like this article points out, they are the only SEC team with 3 colors on their helmets. Didn't realize that.
Cool.
It means nothing to me.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Number 5 is Alabama.
I'm so biased on this.
Well, that's okay. Justin's biased. So what's your bias? So where would you rank Alabama?
They're about where they would be. Yeah.
Okay.
They're
You'd
above.
give them about 5?
Yeah. I don't
there's
know if they're
nothing like-
above. If we're just talking about pure. Oh man, I'm gonna hate myself for saying this, but I kind of like Vandy's more with the.
Then Alabama?
Really?
I'm not talking like I don't know, like just if we're talking about new school uniforms, like because that one looks. Well,
That's from.
when
I
is
don't know.
that from?
That's Sugar Bowl.
Alabama's.
I just like the details more. Like if we're just talking about overall uniforms, but if I just had to, I don't know, pretty close.
On
They're
some,
about where
on
they
some of
would
their
be.
jerseys, they've had like a nice like white or gray outline on the collar right there. That looks
Yeah,
pretty
some
solid.
of them have.
I like the ones with the houndstooth. They're like just subtle, like where it doesn't change the classic, but it's just subtle details. I like the details.
Yeah.
If we're getting into that, though, then they would probably be like my favorite.
Alabama's is my favorite just because I love the color. obviously there's nothing special going on with the jerseys.
Yeah.
I mean, you got the two numbers on the side of the helmet, which no other FBS team does, but
Yeah, that's
that
pretty.
that
That's a
crim-
classic look.
That's
yeah.
why, stuff like that's what brings it up on my list.
that crimson
because there's really not a lot going on.
that crimson is basically the opposite of Tennessee's orange, where Tennessee's orange puts it at the bottom, Alabama's to me puts it at the top. And then right behind them, I'd probably put LSU. I just
The
really
only thing
like
that are
LSU's
really
jerseys.
above that for me is the black jerseys, just because I love the black and I love the details in Vandy's, and I like the new just as much as I like the old for Alabama, like the classic font and everything's the same. I like the new stuff for Mizzou that they do. So those two black jerseys are right up there with it.
I'm interested to see where you rank these, Justin.
Alabama?
Yeah.
I think it's fine where it's at right now.
About number 5?
But, I mean, like you said, there's not anything crazy going on here. You just have the red over the white with the red stripes going down the pants. But, yeah, I think it's always cool that they've just had just the numbers on the helmet, because most of these other college teams, they have just the mascot symbol you think of for that team. So that's always cool to think of. It's better than seeing some elephants on the side of their helmet.
For sure.
Ugly.
Or the A. I just wouldn't like to see the A on the side.
Yeah, that wouldn't.
Would y'all be interested in seeing a return of the white helmets?
Yes, as long as they keep it classic.
Yeah.
Like if it's just
white, red numbers.
Yeah, but
red stripes.
I wouldn't do that on the white on red jerseys.
No, I would do it all white.
You'd have to do it on your
I
way.
would do it all white.
Yeah. I think we're gonna get those in the next 5 years. We're gonna get those.
But
back.
see, Alabama's just Alabama, and then most college teams in the SEC, you just think they don't really change their jerseys that often.
Right.
Auburn, Alabama, LSU, there's just not much change. Florida.
No, there's not.
So I think, after thinking about it, I think it would have to be Vandy just because of the detail, and I still like the black, and then Alabama, and then Mizzou, because I do like the old classic more than I do like the new stuff.
Okay.
But that's about where it ranks.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so number 4, we got the Georgia Bulldogs.
These go down a lot for me.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I don't like
that red
it's like
is
the
just
gaudy
ugly.
red,
Yeah.
and I don't like the font. I don't like it. Looks like a third grader.
I've also just never liked the silver pants either.
Yeah, I've never liked the silver pants and just the basic stripes. Like,
If you're gonna do the silver pants, add silver somewhere else. Maybe the face mask, wherever. Put some silver in there, but you just have these silver pants and it kind of throws it off.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just, I don't know. It's got the red is very bright. You got too much black going on.
Yeah, see where Alabama's is just plain crimson and white. They tried to incorporate the silver, the gray,
and
silver,
white,
and black,
too,
and it just looks. They tried to make it. They tried to make it where it's kind of timeless, where it would still look like the old, know.
And you think red and black; those are good colors. You can put together.
And I feel like they could have done a lot more.
Now, as a fan of black jerseys, what do you think about Georgia's black alternates?
I do like the all
I like
jerseys.
them a lot.
Yeah, I do too.
But they always they don't do anything else with them. Whereas Vandy has black helmets and black pants, and they always wear their black.
It's special,
Yeah, I don't think they ever do black on black, and they got the same.
See, the black on silver.
That's why I don't. It doesn't go up for me. I mean, I love the black. I like it better than their normal ones, but I don't like it as much.
And I think that red looks better used as a lining than as your central color.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, number 3, Florida Gators.
I'm a pretty big fan of theirs, actually.
Yeah, I am too.
I mean, Jordan brands.
Yeah, you got that. I mean, you got the Jordan brand. That's why everybody loves.
That, it's just them in Michigan. I think are the only ones that do the Jordan brand in college.
I think that's right.
I believe Oklahoma.
Does Oklahoma do it?
Yeah, Oklahoma.
I believe Oklahoma does.
So this is a good orange. This is a good blue.
It doesn't try and do too much, and it doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love their helmets with the gators going across, and then the stripe, the white stripe, the blue outline.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, that's a good one. I think that one is exactly where it should be.
I believe that's about right.
Yeah, that's a good ranking.
Okay, number 2, LSU Tigers. This one is where I'd put it too. I love any college that pulls off purple in their uniforms. I love it. I like their actual purple uniforms better than their whites.
Yeah,
I still love the whites though.
The helmets. Probably my favorite helmets, just the tiger and then the LSU going across. I love the helmets.
Yeah, very classic.
Yeah.
It's just a good look.
And the yellow pants. I mean, that's another thing. You think yellow?
Yeah, it's
yellow pants look good.
Hard to pull off yellow pants.
Yeah.
And they do it well.
Yellow and white, it does go down right past Florida for me. I like the Floridas better.
Yeah.
But they don't go down very much.
Yeah.
Sure.
I even like those better than the black ones.
Now, I think that LSU's alternate uniforms we saw last year are the best alternate uniforms.
That's one we need to save for a different episode because those are sick.
I will go on and on about that.
Those are my favorite SEC uniforms ever.
Yeah, I agree. It was I believe the 1914 season.
Yeah,
is what they were going for there. And the number one, we got the Auburn Tigers.
This is pretty surprising to me, honestly.
I was kind of surprised too. Yeah,
but I get it.
But the blue and orange, I love the navy blue. Of course, this is me being biased.
Sure.
But I've always been, there hasn't been really much change in Auburn's uniforms either. I know there's going to be a change in the logo, which looks pretty stupid, but we'll talk about that. That won't be
I disagree. Their helmet is one of my favorite helmets in the SEC.
I love the helmet, yeah.
Where they lose points for me is that it's Under Armour, and I hate the Under Armour logo. I got nothing against their quality of material. Yeah. I just hate that ugly logo, the Under Armour logo.
So going into this, I didn't have just a number one. I was literally going to pin them against each other as we went down, and they're not my number one. Now that I think about it, I do like Florida's probably the best, which is surprising to myself. And then I like LSU, and then I like the Vandy jersey just because of the detail with the black.
I just wouldn't have Vandy that high.
And then I like the Alabama. I don't know where I would put. I would think I would put them, maybe right above Mizzou and after Alabama.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
So no, I think that's still top 5, I believe.
Yeah. No, I think this Auburn uniform is a good look.
And it's just the orange too. It's not that.
Just complimentary.
Orange. It's a nice burnt orange.
It's a nice burnt orange. It's very complimentary. It's not the blue, your focus color.
I just like Florida's blue and orange better.
And you just don't see white helmets too often.
No, and I love Auburn's all white because they've always done the all white away uniforms.
Yeah.
Those are always. That's a fan of mine too.
I kind of wish Alabama would get to that. Like, introduce the white helmet first, see how it goes, and slowly turn it that way, where it's just, you got all crimson and all white. I would love that.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, no. And I think you can get away more with changing their away jerseys, their away uniforms, than their home uniforms.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And it's just simple change.
Yeah. Nothing crazy at all. I think where this gets points, and this is said in the article also, is that you got your white helmet, your white pants, your white socks, your white cleats, and it pulls it off. Yeah. You would think almost too much white, but especially you don't think it.
Blue jersey.
It actually comes together very well.
And I love the orange right there on the sleeves too.
Yeah, the orange stripe is a good look. That's another thing a lot of uniforms struggle with is getting those stripes on your sleeves right, and Auburn has done it for sure.
Well, I just want to go back and say, because I'm still shocked that I said this, but I do like Vandy's uniforms. I did not expect to like it as much now that I'm pinning against each other, but it's just the fact that they're all black and they got the detail with the anchor and then they got the star on the pants. It's not flashy, but they still got the star with a V. I like it. It's still simple.
No, I mean there's nothing wrong with that.
It's just that kind of gold, that color on Vandy's.
I like, but that's a gold. That's real gold to me.
No, I'm just not a fan with it.
I like it. I like it because they don't overdo it with the gold.
Yeah. Now, if we were talking about away jerseys for them, I'm definitely not a fan of the away jerseys either.
Yeah, probably not. I'm probably with you on that. The black does a lot for me.
Yeah.
All right, well, we are at an hour 58. I want to wrap this up before 2 hours. Sorry for such a long episode. If anyone is still listening, we really appreciate it. So thank you for checking us out. You can find us on social media. We are at TGM Pod on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We had Game Managers Pod on everything except Twitter. Some old account had it that was inactive, so we couldn't grab it. So I switched everything to TGM Pod. You can also reach out to us at gamemanagerspod@gmail.com. We are also on Patreon. And we are everywhere, wherever you get podcasts. So be sure to subscribe for future content. Leave a nice review if you enjoyed the show.
Or leave a bad review.
Leave a bad one.
Yeah,
wow. It's pretty weird that we
read the bad reviews.
Yeah, actually, we'll read them out live.
Actually, roast us, please.
Yeah, and give us some future topics to come up with, too, if you got some ideas.
Mainly by roasting us.
Yeah, that's fine.
This will just turn into reading your mean comments.
Yeah, that's completely fine. That sounds like a good...
Try to leave out the explicitives if you can. We're trying to be a little family friendly.
Yeah, we want to be...
Well, you can leave it in there for us.
We won't read it. Yeah, we want to have a nice, clean, fun podcast for everybody to, just hang out and see. We got 30 seconds left, so I'm going to wrap this up. I want to say thank you to our friend Will for over at the Message Pitch podcast.
They got a great podcast. Go check them out.
Yeah, if you want to just hear a podcast on the wider world of sports, go check them out. They're really good and hilarious. It's a group of guys. And they make the long drives a little bit easier. So, and they kind of inspired us to do this one too. So, check them out. And I think that's it. We're right at 2 hours. So we will see y'all this time next week.
Y'all have a great week.